Yeah, and also name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands.
That's
Of course,
why
they're
I
not telling
abandoned
you to
them.
sit on their hands. They're just not telling you what the fuck to do. They want to stir.
Okay, this is just absolutely outrageous.
Disenfranchising herself. I can't support her. I just don't quite understand how that's realistic, man.
Yeah, and also name one YouTube personality who says to sit on their hands. Of course, they're not telling you to sit on their hands. They're just not telling you what the fuck to do. They want to stir up all your anger and then give you no direction. So the only thing that you do to protest is watch their fucking show. It's exactly what MSNBC.
Okay, that is blatantly,
Yeah.
flagrantly untrue. That is an outrageously dishonest thing to say. You are either completely ignorant or you're a liar. Frankly, I don't know which is true in this case because you have a proven track record of being both pathetically ignorant and extremely dishonest when it comes to characterizing what other people say. Now, they're not talking about us here. I don't think we're on their radar that much. There's no doubt what Zach is talking about here is the Revolutionary Blackout Network because they have a hard-on for RBN. And so they are saying right here that RBN is not pushing any sort of outside strategy in terms of outside movements or mutual aid. Rome
Are you
from RBN,
telling me that a couple of Kansas City white boys have an issue with working class black men and their channel?
Well, listen, I don't even have to go there because what I will tell you right now is just the facts. Just the facts here. Fact, Rome from RBN is now working on building a community library. He is accepting donations and he is busting his ass to build a library. That is called mutual aid. When Rome is done building that library, will he have won the presidency? No, but neither will have fucking Marianne Williamson. What Rome is going to have for his
He'll
efforts,
be closer to the presidency.
he'll be
than she
closer.
will.
What he's going to have to show for it is a place where people, individuals, children, and families can come and read for free, which is a beautiful thing. What you assholes are going to have is a sticky keyboard from all the cum you shot into it, pitching Marianne 2024. So that's number one. Number two, Nick Cruz from RBN has not only advocated for Shama Sawant's workers' strike back, he appeared and spoke at the launch event this Saturday. So how you can come on here and say so dismissively that, oh, well, they're not telling you what to do. They're not telling you to sit on their hands, but they're not giving you an alternative. That is an absolute lie. Whether you meant it that way or not, you are either talking out of your ass or you're lying. You're lying.
Hello, my friends. Hello, my family. Welcome back. Welcome back to RBN Friday Live. That was a great breakdown at our friends that do dissidents. Welcome to RBN. And as you guys see, I am very blessed. RBN is very blessed to have the enemies that we do. We have the dumbest, most dishonest enemies you could ask for. And they do nothing but advertise for us. It's fantastic. You have a bunch of people that lie about RBN and in such a blatant way that people like, holy shit, why are they lying about Nick like this? It happens all the time. Some smear merchant go after me on Twitter with blatant lies. Then RBN followers would rebuke them. And then people are like, why are the liberals so desperate to smear RBN? So they do nothing but help us. Because what he's doing is a desperate lie, what the Vanguard said there. What RBN, what we do is just rile up people's anger while giving them no direction. And I see this every once in a while. You look at my Twitter where I'll be going hard at Marianne Williamson, and then these Marianne Williamson lazy bootlicking liberals that call themselves socialists, they say stuff like, oh my God, Nick and RBN always talk about Marianne and they always critique our dumbass strategies, but they don't do anything. Meanwhile, everyone on Twitter, everyone sees what Rome is doing. Everyone saw when I would travel to work a strike back. Everyone see the organization that CJ's doing in LA. Savvy is often on the ground covering direct actions on their channel. So obviously our followers come in, they correct these people because it's an obvious smear job. And the funniest thing is, this comes from the Vanguard, who proves my point correctly. I am so happy that the Vanguard exists because there's not a group that proves my thesis correct more than Vanguard. And yeah, I see someone pointing out, but when we surpass Vanguard, they have lost 700 subs since then, ever since they gone on this anti-RBN crusade, because everyone sees through them. Literally everybody. Literally the only people that do not see through their lies are the people who have RBN and Jimmy Dore derangement syndrome like they do. These are the only people that watch their show at this point. They lost all their credibility after the Aaron Monte and Lee Camp interview, so they pivoted to become more like Kyle Kalinske, shit libs, people they looked up to now, right? And I'm glad that people like them exist, because what did I say? I see you in the back, Misty. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. We got my great friend Misty. We're gonna have a great rap session today. But remember what I told you guys when I said that Marianne Williamson and this project, this Bernie Industrial Complex, exists to siphon energy away from mutual aid and direct action? Then the Vanguard exists that proves my point exactly. Thank you, Gavin and Zach, for existing. Because I live in Kansas City, and we had the March for Kansas City, the March for Medicare for All Kansas City. You want to know who gave a speech at that event? I did. I gave a speech at that event. You want to know who arrived late after everything was done to take a few selfies? Zach and Gavin, who was nowhere to be found during the march, who missed my speech, and they was like, "Man, I wish I was there for your speech. We would have aired it on our channel." That's back when they used to like us before they had to appeal to liberals. They used to invite us on all the time, give us all these compliments. They said they wish they could record my Medicare for All speech. They came up late to the Medicare for All event, took a few selfies and left. I reported at the KC Tenants launch event for them launching a tenant union, and they did a massive direct action that I had a part of as well, where they was knocking on doors and rolling people to their new their tenant union. When I went to the KC Tenant Union launch event, and then they did another rally a few weeks ago, the Vanguard was nowhere to be found. You guys know that? When Rome did Tour for the Poor in Kansas City, we gave away thousands of diapers. The whole community came together. It was widely advertised on Twitter. We talk about it on YouTube all the time. You want to know who didn't show up? The Vanguard. You guys see where I'm going with here? The Vanguard does nothing. Does nothing. So remember what my thesis when I told you guys that electoral politics siphons energy away from direct action? Colin exposed them on our show, and he's told them, he's like, "Why didn't you cover the worker strike back event?" They said, well, the reason why they didn't cover the worker strike back event is because they didn't know about it. So guys, why do you think they didn't know about that event? Because they spend all their time on electoral politics. Proving my point exactly. They could spend all this time bootlicking for a millionaire white woman, but they ignoring Shama Sawant and mutual aid and direct action. You have Bree and all these people who lie to people, who say we can pay attention to electoral politics, we can prop up Marianne Williamson, and we can prop up mutual aid and third parties. But you guys are not. How many of these people covered worker strike back? How many of these people covering what Rome is doing? How many of these people covering the Julian Assange events that my friend Misty hosts? They do nothing. That's why when they say we can do all of it, you're not doing it though. The Vanguard is nowhere to be found in Kansas City. They sit on their ass and do nothing but talk about drama. And then when direct action comes up, they get asked why they're not covering it. They say, oh, because we didn't know about it. Because you're too busy licking the boots of Marianne Williamson and Crystal Ball, and you're deeply unserious. With that said, I want to introduce my friend. Our great, our ally, our
mascot.
I'll go beyond mascot. Honorary RBN member. Welcome to RBN Live. We also gonna have CJ joining.
Yay!
20 minutes as well.
Cool.
A few errands to run. That's why I started the show today. We got a lot to talk about. What's poppin', Misty?
I am really excited because that was a great way to start the show. It's going to be a very ranty kind of day. I'm very pumped about it. The Vanguard has sucked for a long time, y'all. They've always been like the TMZ of kind of leftish politics. They cover drama, like that's all they do. They like cover Twitter beefs. A really important work there, guys. Keep it up. Yeah, I've never seen him on the ground anywhere. I didn't see him at Force the Vote. I've never seen him at an Assange rally. I've I've never seen them cover any of those things. Yeah, it's my like, yeah, okay, RBN doesn't give alternative. Really? I'm sorry, really? What the fuck? Like, Rome is literally building a library and a community garden, and he did tour for the poor. Did they ever cover any of that stuff? No. Nick was just at Worker Strike Back. Did they talk about that? No, of course not. No, they just smear and slander and lie because that's all they can do. That's the only thing that they have to stand on. They can't stand on the merits of their argument because they don't have one. You know what I mean?
That's how I know we got them pressed.
Yeah.
Because that's a common thing I see from the boutique leftists on Twitter who we're getting a lot of heat now because we're going after the Marianne Williamson thing. And we had a huddle last year. We had a private huddle last year. We like, hope you guys ready for shit to get hot. Because you got all these people pretending, oh, fuck the Democratic Party. Yeah, we had enough of the Democratic Party. And we said, wait till election season starts.
Yep.
And wait till we truly become oppositional. Like you guys think we're cute right now.
No.
And now you're gonna wait till you start your next project.
Y'all, wait until I cannot wait, Nick. I cannot fucking wait for Marianne Williamson to take all of their money and then drop out and endorse Joe Biden because that's coming. That's absolutely 100% coming.
Already,
it's
they were like, well, what we want to do, we don't want to take workers' money. We can run a campaign without taking worker money. I'm like, you guys understand that is her main goal. Look you guys want to see an example of what she is tweeting out here? And what I am trying to say for you guys, I do not want to see $100 million be wasted
again
on the Vanity Project. Look, you see this tweet? Donate.
Fuck you.
Not even a motivational jerk off tweet. You know what I mean? What would my campaign do for you and your family? Not even that. Her team's so lazy. They just post a video that donate. Just donate.
So garbage. And she's garbage on foreign policy. And people keep coming at me like, oh, but she supports Assange. You're not going to support her? No, because I'm not a single issue person. First of all, I don't do electoral politics. And I don't care who you are. I'm not voting for you. Yeah. I'm not going to sign on to this system. I'm not going to keep participating in a completely corrupted system and expect different results. I'm not crazy. But I'm certainly not going to support somebody who thinks Joe Biden's doing the right thing in Ukraine and who is a Zionist and thinks that there's a two-state solution. Fuck no. Absolutely not. Am I happy that she publicly supports Julian Assange and, occasionally shows up? I mean, listen, I've told this story before. I think it was our April events last year. There was a stand-ups for Assange event the night before where there were cameras. And she showed up and she gave a speech, and her speech was all, we got to do more. We have to be louder. Frankly, she sounded like me. We got to get in the streets, all of that stuff. And then guess what? Guess who didn't? I had not one, but two street actions planned for the next day. Guess who didn't show up to either one of those?
No cameras.
There were no cameras.
No cameras. Yep.
So that's the kind of person she is. Yeah.
And we are saying what's obvious to everyone who is not her friend. She's here to sell a book.
Yes.
This is a extended book tour. Bernie's on another book tour right now. Yes. Why we should be mad at capitalism? Said the guy who boosted the military-industrial complex.
And is still doing it. And then he says, "Oh, well, I'm not all that involved in Ukraine." Well, you keep voting to send money. You're involved, homie. Like, you can't hide behind that shit. That's garbage. That's a cop out.
Be cowardly. I'm not that involved. I'll vote for it. I'll vote for it though. I smear activists who call me out for it as Russian agents, but I'm not that involved in it.
Yeah, it's not my thing. He sounded like Trump. It's not my thing.
There's a lot to say on this because I have a segment and I got this planned out. So I'm gonna leave my favorite story this year. But there's a segment where I'm gonna explain how with progressives like these who need neocons,
right?
That's what the segment is called. I think you would enjoy it, Misty.
Jesus.
So I'm gonna show you guys what Marianne Williamson said on Ukraine.
Oh,
what Marianne Williamson said on Israel. What and you guys see the title, Rashida Tlaib called out on Ukraine. Horrible response on that. All the NATO left is being called out left and right. People are not buying the bullshit coming from the NATO left anymore, and I love to see it. So people wonder why we're so oppositional to these people. I'm gonna show you.
I don't support imperialists, period, ever. End of story, period. There's no exceptions. None. Zero exceptions made. Yeah. I do not support imperialist scum ever.
I don't care what they call themselves.
No.
Oh, they said they were progressive though. Fuck
I don't
outta
give a
here.
fuck. You're
Fuck
not
outta-
progressive.
You had a vote.
If you support Ukraine, Misty for Congress, get the fuck out of here, Miguel. I'm not running for shit. I love you, but no. No. If you're voting to support the war in Ukraine, if you're voting to give Israel more money, you're not progressive. You can bastardize the term all you want, but that's not what that means.
Yeah, so that segment coming up, I'm gonna lead with my favorite story. And if you remember yours, tell me yours, because last year it's easy. Like it was easiest choice of my life. Remember when George W. Bush gave a speech?
Yes,
and he had that fraudulent slip. Maybe I should find it because it can't be that hard. I think
glorious. It was glorious. It was disgusting because he was so. I mean, just laughed it off. The whole room just kind of laughed. Yeah, it's funny. We invaded a country, but it was also glorious because that was like a real big mask off moment. Like, yeah, this is how they look at foreign policy. It's not a big deal to them. They don't care about the million of Iraqis that are dead. They don't care about the fact that they destroyed that country, that region. They do not give a shit. It's all about the money, and they just laugh it off like, oh yeah, we totally destroyed a country. It's fine.
Misty on fire. Let me guys show you. So I think this is good for a segment. So I'm gonna show you guys this. This is the story of 2022. Like my favorite story, without a doubt. So here's the video if you guys don't remember. George Bush famous fraudulent slip. And you know that the sins of the Iraq war just eats him up in his sleep. Like, I always wonder, because I'm not religious, I don't even understand the mindset of what makes you religious. So like, I don't know, like, are they really Christians or fake Christians?
No.
I don't know. Like, so, and one thing I don't know the answer, so maybe you can enlighten me on this. But it's like, I don't know, they really believe that shit or not. So there's a part of me like maybe there's part of Bush and these people that believe in Christianity and they know they go to hell and that shit eats them up. But I don't really know. Maybe they know it's bullshit. Maybe they don't really give a shit. I don't know, because I see stuff like this. Let me play the video and I'd love to get your take on it, because this is my favorite story of 2022, and then I'll show you guys what my story of 2023 is.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia, and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq.
Let me tell you, I follow nothing but a ton of anti-imperialist accounts on Twitter, just like you do. And when this video dropped, it was like the best day on anti-imperialist Twitter. Like, it was like a holiday. I'm like, I can't believe they gave us this gem.
It's so good. It's so good. He literally just described the United States. The elections are rigged. Yep, check. Their political opponents are imprisoned or hello. Anybody heard of Julian Assange? Check.
Yeah, I have it mute so you can
amazing.
See it. Amazing. Yeah, I was just thinking that because everything he said, and he knows it. Why? As he's speaking here, that's why that would lead to the fraudulent slip. Everything he says, like the U.S. elections are rigged, sir. You stole the election in 2000.
Yeah.
The guy who literally stole it. Oh, shit, I gotta be careful because you can't even say that anymore, apparently.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, the Supreme Court gifted him that election. Let me say that. YouTube guys. Damn, probably already fucked. But we all know that as a fact. Now he's saying that happens in Russia. You, sir, look at us. That's what you did.
Find yourself a mirror, homie. Find yourself a mirror. Look deep into it.
Political prisoners. That Julian Assange obviously being the best example of that.
Yeah, it's the most famous. There's more.
Yeah, obviously there's endless amounts.
Yeah,
eliminated from participating in electoral process. You mean like convicted felons that our criminal justice system often wrongly convict?
Or hell, even just the people that they purge from the voter rolls who are living in districts that like what was it, like 120,000 people who were purged in Brooklyn conveniently, where it was heavily in favor of Bernie. They just took those people and nobody cared. Nobody did anything about that. I think one lady got fired and that was it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody cares. This is not a Russia thing. I mean, yeah, Russia does this stuff too. I think every major country on earth probably does a lot of this shit because they're all corrupt. I've said it a million times. times people, I know that my name's Comrade Missy is Putin's buddy. I don't like Putin. I don't like any world leaders. They're all corrupt. You cannot reach that level of power without being a fucking psychopath. Period. End of story.
Absolutely.
But trying to like point our finger at Russia, there's nobody that does worse than we do. Nobody, period. It's not even in the same ballpark. It's not even the same universe. Like nobody compares. Nobody fucking compares to the shit that we do in this country. Period.
Yeah, not even close.
No.
And now that was my favorite story last year. Let me show you guys my favorite story this year. Now, I really want, yeah, Mitch, you saw this. I really need the people who are Western chauvinists to acknowledge this story with me, okay? So everyone's like, oh my God, Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. We need to convict Russia of war crimes. Now, remember what Missy said, she don't like Russia, but how can you say that living in our country?
You cannot.
The people who spend all their time, and this is what a lot of NATO left does, the people who spend all their time critiquing our adversaries, the United States adversaries, instead of holding our government accountable, I consider them to be the biggest cowards in politics.
Mm-hmm.
You're the biggest cowards, because let me read the headline. I covered enough here, just in case you guys only not reading along. This from the New York Times. I love using establishment sources to show you guys how crazy this shit is. Breaking news. The Pentagon is blocking the United States from sharing evidence on Russian atrocities in Ukraine with the International Criminal Court. Why would they do that, guys? NATO left. I really need you to pay attention to this part. Military leaders fear they set a precedent that might pave the way for it to prosecute Americans.
But listen, it's okay. They really don't have anything to fear, because we literally passed a law that said that if they tried to come and get anybody in our country responsible for war crimes, that we would legitimately invade the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Like that's a law that we passed to avoid accountability for our bullshit. So that's what is so mind-blowing to me, that anybody who is wasting time, who lives in this country. Listen, I don't live in Russia. I have no power there. I have no influence there. It doesn't affect me personally. And the fact that I live in if you live in the United States of America and you spend your time finger wagging at Vladimir Putin instead of your own government, there's something wrong with you. There is something fucking wrong with you. I keep telling, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but really it's legit. The entirety of what Putin has done in Ukraine in the past year is a fucking Tuesday for our country.
Yes.
It's like a everyday. Yeah. How many countries are we currently invading? How many genocides are we participating in? What are we doing to our own people right now? Let's talk about East Palestine. I mean, seriously, you're going to finger wag at Vladimir Putin while that shit's going on in your own country? Clean your own house. It's so stupid.
Yeah, they're cowards. And
yes,
in the beginning of the whole Ukraine conflict, when I saw how some people was covering it, like when I saw MSNBC and a lot of these people use the word, I saw like blue check liberals on Twitter type the word war crime for the first time in their career. I saw MSNBC do segments on war crimes. I'm like, oh, really? You guys want to go down this route?
Yeah,
I'm more than happy.
Really? Yeah.
And that's why I've been covering the Ukraine crisis the way I have. I told you guys I'm a propagandist for the working class in my movement, unapologetically. Yes, I'm looking to get sound bites. I'm gonna get sound bites for my movement. Yeah. So when we have the establishment trying to pretend they care about war crimes while they're voting for Jim Crow Joe, as I said, no one. Do you guys really believe that Vladimir Putin, his kill count is more than the guy that you guys voted for in Jim Crow Joe? Not even close. I still remember, and I know you went through the same thing, Misty, in 2020, where people were like, oh my God, why are you not voting for Joe Biden? I say, I'm not voting for him because he's a fucking war criminal. And people are like, oh my God, why you care about? No one really cares about that. Now those same people are like, oh my God, Putin's a war criminal. Yeah. Yes. The hypocrisy. Like people would shame me. I can't believe you're not he's a war criminal. Oh yeah, but that, Iraq was a long time ago, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck. I remember that shit. And there needs to be people held accountable for it. The only people who have ever been held accountable for the bullshit that happened in Iraq is Chelsea Manning and Julian Assange. Period. The only two people, the whistleblower and the publisher. That's it. No war criminal. Nobody who called for those war crimes to be committed. Nobody
none of the people who committed the war crimes. They've never even seen the inside of a courtroom. In fact, many of them got promoted. They got promoted. And that, yes, that meme right there.
Yeah, this is, you got Julian Assange in prison. Meanwhile, like, you guys, like, look at those top 3 people. Those 3 people right there, Barack Obama, George W. Bush Jr., Bill Clinton. I can't even wrap my mind around the amount of human suffering that those people are responsible for.
Right? Dude, listen, I'm a true crime nerd, right? And I haven't done the math on this, but I would venture to say that every serial killer and mass murderer who has ever existed on planet Earth since the beginning of time doesn't even put a dent in one of those guys' body counts.
Yeah, I remember. I really wish I can quote someone. I don't remember where I got this from, to be honest. But I remember someone said that the United States, or the last like literally 3 to 4 presidents, killed more people than the entire history of the mob. Like the entire history of the mob, the most recent presidents killed more people than those people.
For sure. It's not even close. And that's not even just through war crimes. How many people are they responsible for killing in this country? Whether it's lack of healthcare that is killing people, or poisoning the water, or there's so many ways. Like, these people are the epitome of evil. And that's not like me being overly dramatic. That's reality. That's what we're dealing with. And that's why, and again, I'm no fan of Putin, but if you live in the United States of America and you are spending your time finger wagging a president who you don't live in his country, you have no influence over his decisions, and you are running cover and making excuses and justifications for the people in power in your own country who are doing a million times worse, what the actual fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, I'm genuinely asking, what is wrong with you?
That is what
I want to know.
That is what the NATO left is doing now.
Yes.
I'm with Biden on Ukraine.
Yes.
I'm with Biden on Ukraine. So these people who claim they're anti-war, they claim they're critical anti-establishment thinkers. They're like, oh my God, the Iraq war, the lies of the Iraq war is unbelievable. The lies of the Afghanistan war is unbelievable. The lies of Vietnam was unbelievable. But Ukraine, I'm sure they're telling the truth this time.
It's different, Nick. This time it's totally different. Totally. How many times does your government get to lie to you before your sense of skepticism kicks in? I genuinely want to know. How many times is it? Are you just going to buy into all the bullshit? Like, watching grown-ass adults fall for Ukraine that lived through Iraq, that lived through Afghanistan, that lived through Syria, that lived through all of these things, and you live through weapons of mass destruction, and yet you're going to believe the bullshit in Ukraine? But again, it speaks to the power of propaganda, and it speaks to the absolute artistry that the United States practices in terms of mass manipulation, and the idea that they have complete control over the media and all of your information. It's really difficult to get legitimate news and legitimate information, and people are lazy, and they want to believe, like we've been led to believe we're bombarded from birth that this is the greatest country on earth, and that if we do it, it's good. It's got to be good, right? We're the good guys. And a lot of people are having a difficult time letting go of that idea. It's not true. We're not the good guys. We're never the good guys. We never do things with the right intentions. If we are helping some country, you better believe it's because we are trying to install a puppet dictator, or we want to steal their resources, or whatever it is. There's never good intentions. We are absolutely the bad guys every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, people like Vol, she's all for promoting U.S. exceptionalism. He's big NATO leftist.
Yeah.
And you have Jank that he supported the U.S. War in Syria because he drank the Kool-Aid with that. Oh my God, we really want the best for Syrians. It's a very common trait from
Marianne Williamson. When we pulled out of Afghanistan, which by the way, we did not pull out of Afghanistan, but she's like, oh, we need to stay for the women and children, which is mind blowing to me because she supposedly supports WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, and Julian Assange and WikiLeaks exposed the fact that that's a CIA talking point that was used when the support for the war was starting to die down and they needed to rebolster it. And so that was one of their propaganda lines that they put out into the media, that we got to stay for the women and children. And that's what you're going to push. And then she walked it back because everybody called her out on it. And that's what frustrates me the most about her.
After a lot of argument and debate, she was debating this for quite some time.
Yes. No, she did. Well, she did the same thing with Julian Assange. She used to not support Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Jimmy Dore had to call her out on his show, and then suddenly she was an Assange supporter. And that's my biggest problem with her. She is such an opportunist. She goes wherever the winds go, wherever it's the most convenient, whatever's going to get her the most support at the time. That's what she supports. She doesn't have any solid actual principles or policies. It's just whatever is going to get me support right now. She'll say whatever you want to hear in the moment. And I don't do that.
But she's supposed to be a leader, and she can't even get these basic issues right.
Basic,
not even advanced theory shit. Like basic issues that you guys are not getting right. It makes absolutely no sense, and that goes to the segment we're gonna get to later. The boutique left. Actually, that's gonna be our next segment. I just got 2 super chats I'm gonna get to. The boutique left with progressives like these who needs neocons. And after the Afghan women thing, there's just certain takes that you don't come back from. Like, I'm not saying that you cancel people. I'm not saying that. But you do not volunteer yourself to be the president. Is that too much to ask for? I'm not saying to cancel her. If you learn, I have bad takes. We all have bad takes. But if you said stuff that this dumb on foreign policy, how about you sit out the commander-in-chief conversation? How about you not anoint yourself as a leader?
Well, to be fair, she's not really running to be president. She's not really running to be a leader. She's running to funnel revolutionary energy into a corrupted electoral system and then endorse Joe Biden. She's here to take your money. That's what's most disgusting to me is that, listen, if she would have run in the Democratic Party, I still would have had a problem with it. But if she would have come out and been like, listen, I know I'm not going to win. They're going to fucking rig this against me. It's going to be, I'm just here to like flip tables and call them out and get as much attention on these issues. I would have maybe been able to respect that. But she goes on these shows like Kyle and Crystal and it's like, I can absolutely win. No, you fucking can't. And you know it. And the fact that you know it and you're still going to take money from people to run a race that you know you cannot win is despicable. It's what Bernie did. And that's why in 2016, when he did what he did, I completely turned my back on him. I was done with electoral politics. I got a lot of shit for calling him out. And I was right. Turns out I was right. And it's the exact same thing with Marianne.
Right.
It's the exact same thing.
Misty was dead right. I'm gonna get to these 2 super chats. Hopefully I didn't miss any. Thanks for $10. Zasmin, everyone likes the idea of being a lefty influencer, but no one wants to work to feed house supply people. Which, I mean, I guess I had to brag more. Like I don't like to do it, but there's so many people that lie on my name. There's so many people who lie on my name that I'm like, I guess I don't brag enough because I have done those. As I said before, me and Rome fed countless homeless people. That was one of the events that we did at Kansas City Tour Report. We grilled like 100 hot dogs, had like 50 hamburgers, like ridiculous amount of food. Went to Kansas City, downtown, found homeless people. It wasn't hard. And we fed them. And it was a large line. It was a great solidarity event. I was talking to these people we were just preaching this stuff. And then we had people that, it was amazing because we had people that literally stopped and was helping us. And it was like infectious. Like people saw this was going on, so they wanted to help. And there was some like it was just great. You see how infectious that stuff is. Once again, Vanguard wasn't there.
No.
Vanguard wasn't there. No one else does this shit other than RBN. But these people, because we hurt their feelings and destroy their arguments, they keep lying on our name and say RBN does nothing but talk shit on YouTube. We do more than you guys do. I'm not that kind of guy who brag, but I need to start doing it just for the sake of my reputation. Because people just say this stuff all the time. And it doesn't add up. I literally have my pinned tweet in my speech at Workers' Strike Back. I had a speech at the March for Medicare for All. I used to get speeches at black barbershops, which many people in the boutique left knew about.
Yeah.
And they still come out with a smear job. But hey, what can you do?
It doesn't matter, Nick. It really doesn't matter. Nothing you do will ever be good enough. Because I've experienced the exact same thing in different ways. First of all, if you shouldn't have to brag, and nor should you have to publicly talk about mutual aid stuff. I mean, like you don't like I do I donate to tons of people. I don't put it out, blast it out there. Like I don't find that there is a need. But the people that don't like me do the exact same thing. My favorite example, and this makes me laugh every single day, was the day that Reality Winner was released from prison. And like I didn't tweet about it right away, right? Like I didn't tweet about it.
Well,
so all of my haters were like, oh my God, I guess Missy doesn't care that Reality Winner got out of prison. Turns out I was literally on the ground at an event that I organized, talking to people about Reality Winner and handing out buttons. And my phone was being used to live stream the event, which is why I couldn't tweet about it. But we announced it at our event. Gabriel Shipton, Julian Assange's brother, announced it at our event. We all cheered. I was actually on the ground, but they were like, "Oh, I guess she doesn't care."
And of course, they probably didn't do any retraction either.
No, of course not.
Of course not. They never do.
No,
because they're not good faith. I don't. And I've said this many times, and I said this to my RBN brothers and sisters. Well, I don't take all I love seriously. If you look at my Twitter account, it literally just me fucking talking shit. It literally me reacting to stories. I'm boosting my friends. Like I don't pay attention to shit no more. If you're not out there organizing, if you're not doing anything, I do not take you seriously. I don't consider you on my same side, and I'm taking an adversarial approach to you. Yeah. This era where people like Mike Figueredo, the Vanguard, and Kyle Kalinske, Crystal Ball, and these people, you say, "Oh my God, we're your closest allies." What the fuck have you guys done for the movement? You guys have done nothing, absolutely nothing for the movement. So what have you done recently? That's
not only are they not doing anything for the movement, but they are actively and openly working against it on a regular fucking basis. And that is why, they're not, those people are not my closest allies. I'm sorry. That's just, they like to present themselves as that because, oh, well, we're progressive. No, in my opinion, liberals are some of the most dangerous people on earth. Scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. That is the truth. That is reality. And
I love organizing with liberals, though. And that's the funny thing. We talk about this all the time. They none of these people who smeared the Rage Against the War Machine rally showed up or show support for worker strike back. So what are they saying, Misty?
They don't show support for any direct action, dude.
Yes.
Ever. It doesn't matter what it is. Every time somebody tries to do something, they spend all of their energy attacking it, trying to sabotage it, smearing the people who are involved with it. I've never seen any of these people actually organize themselves. Like do something. So like seriously, anything productive. And I understand that organizing is not for everybody. I understand that. Listen, I'm an organizer. I understand it is very hard. It's time consuming. It's expensive. It is very stressful. You have to deal with a lot of smears and a lot of character attacks and all of that. It's not for everybody. And I'm not saying that everybody should be an organizer, but you don't have to be an organizer. Again, you can donate to mutual aid. If you can't like run a mutual aid program like Run is doing, then just donate to Rome or donate to somebody else. Like JB needs help. He has to go through dialysis. He has a donate. Like you can just donate, even if it's like $10, that helps. Like just do something. You don't have to be in the streets. I get it. People are you can't say that people need to get in the streets because some of us are disabled. Yes, I understand, but there are lots of things that you can do. Lots. You can make phone calls. You can help with graphics. You can send out emails. You can help. There's so many things that you can help do. Instead, they spend their time trying to disrupt and trying to smear and discredit. And it's just, you are actively my enemy. You're not an ally. If that's what you're doing, you're an enemy.
And that's why the Vanguard smear is so ridiculous, because they said they don't even tell people what to do. And literally in my speech that I gave in Worker Strike Back, I literally said everyone has a role in this movement. I gave people some ideas. I essentially said what you said in speech form. The same thing. So what they're doing is purposely depowering people, trying to get people not to do shit and rely on heroes like Marianne Williamson.
Yes.
And the biggest thing that exposed these people is the Worker Strike Back event that I spoke at. And I guess they saw I was part of the event and they didn't want any part of it. Now, think about what this means, guys. They smeared the Rage Against the War Machine rally because they said we refuse to organize with libertarians, which I strongly put back on because I think that's ridiculous. But they were like,
beyond ridiculous.
We organize with libertarians. Libertarians hate the poor. They believe in all this horrible stuff.
Lies.
Meanwhile, there's a worker strike back filled with a bunch of socialists. And then they don't promote that event. They don't go to that event. So what are they saying? They don't organize with libertarians. They don't organize with socialists. The only people they want to organize with is liberals.
Yes.
They're Democrats.
No, they don't.
People they want to organize with.
They don't even want to organize with. They don't want to organize. They want to sit in their safe space and feel smugly superior. That's what they want to do. They want to just sit back and cape for some rich white woman and convince everybody that we need a hero. We don't need a hero. We are our own fucking heroes. I know that's cheesy as fuck, but that's reality. We have to help each other. And the whole bullshit, I'm not going to organize with libertarians. They hate the poor. That is so fucking false. Listen, I have made a very concentrated effort over the last 2 years in my work on Assange to step outside of my ideological bubble and reach out to people who in my opinion, I thought would be a target audience for support for Assange. And some of the people that I reached out to were libertarians, an amazing group of people. I disagree with them on a lot of things. There's no question about it, but we're grown-ups. We can handle that. The reality that I have figured out in the past 2 years is that I also agree with them on a lot of fucking things, really important things like ending wars, freeing Julian Assange. I mean, huge things that mean a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Freeing Palestine. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm willing to work with just about anyone to prevent nuclear fucking war. And if you are not, what? I'm sorry. Do you and the whole like, oh well, there were people there that are transphobic. Guess who dies in a nuclear war? Trans people. They die too. Gay people. They die too. Black people, they die too. Women, they die too. So your whole hiding behind these identity politics, this is you need to, I don't think people understand single issue coalitions. It doesn't mean you have to be besties. You don't have to like go on vacation with these people. You just have to show up and fight for something that you supposedly care about. These people who are like, oh, I really care about this thing, but this person that I don't like also cares about it. So I guess that means I can't fight for it. You're a fucking child. Like what? Ugh.
Deeply unserious.
Yes.
Unserious. And I'm sure this is just a good faith question. I'm taking it as so. Why is it okay to work with libertarians and not liberals? Once again, I'm saying this is a good faith.
We just explained it.
Yeah. I organize with Biden voters.
Yeah.
I told you guys before. My personal opinion. I think if you vote for Joe Biden, especially knowing what he did, and that part is key because obviously that's subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know that much about him, I'll give you some grace.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do know what he did and you vote for Joe Biden, I think you're disgusting. I think that's disgusting. That's just my personal opinion. And guys, I have swallowed that so many times. I've had people on this show. A lot of people, I don't not gonna out anyone, but many people on the show that vote for Biden. We got along just fine. You guys see how I'm consistent? I'm willing to vote with people I find disgusting, Biden voters, libertarians, Trump voters, other socialists. Marxists, anarchists, anybody, right? You guys see how I'm consistent? What drives me crazy about these CIA leftists is that they only want to organize with liberals and they chastise anyone for doing anything else. So they don't show up at Worker Strike Back ran by socialists and they smear anyone who want to work with libertarians. But you guys are okay with organizing with police state loving liberals, with Iraq genociding liberals, with Zionist liberals. You see how they just throw their crimes on me? The crimes of liberals mean nothing to them. That's a deep moral flaw that I see in people. You want to organize with liberals, but you don't care about what they do. But
I will organize with anybody.
Yeah.
If you find me a liberal who wants to end wars legitimately, I have no problem. I have absolutely zero problem showing up to a rally with those people. I will say, I should clarify. I am very particular about who I allow into my organizing circle, who I actually work with. I think you need to be very careful about. I am an organizer. I actually organize events. And I'm very, 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 very picky about who comes into those spaces. However, I will, if any liberal is, I say this all the time. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you voted for, what ism you subscribe to, what books you read. I don't give a fuck. If you want to show up to one of my events to help free Julian Assange and save the future of press freedom, welcome aboard. I have no issue with you. None whatsoever. Show me a liberal who will show up. I mean, I guess like Katie Halper has showed up to one of our events. Breonna Joy Gray has showed up to one of our events. Marianne Williamson has showed up to, and they're always welcome. I will never. And in fact, at one of the events that I went up and introduced myself. I have serious issues with her. And I went up and I shook her hand and I said, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. She was incredibly rude to me and then didn't bother to show up to the 2 street actions. So I will organize with anybody. I will allow anybody to come to my events. I'm happy to show up to other people's events if you are, but show me a liberal who's legitimately anti-war or who cares about ending censorship or who, do you know what I'm saying? Like they aren't on my team on anything. It's hard to organize with people who don't hold the same values as you.
And one of the stories we're going to get to later, if we got time, I may have to save it tomorrow. We'll see, is you have progressives who are guest queening Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh my God.
Because the Twitter files hurt their feelings because, and I'm kind of spoiling it because we're going to talk about this later, because the Twitter file exposed the military industrial complex and CIA mailing and Twitter, but they are for that. They are for that, so they cheer for that. So we got
Bernie voters.
Yeah,
Bernie voters are cheering on Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I cannot. Oh, I can believe it, but I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But Misty, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. So
I'm sorry.
I'm kind of spoiling it too much. I got a few more super chats. I want to get to.
And by the way, to the person that asked that question, I hope I didn't come off as like assholey. I didn't mean to be. Your question is valid. Like that's a valid question, and I appreciate you asking it. All of those people are welcome at any of my events. All of them. I have invited Brian Grimm. I have invited Jordan Cheriton. They don't show up. You know what I mean? Like they're always welcome.
And that's
every
the
time.
argument that we have made multiple times. People say, "What?" And I've seen people say this when we diss the shit out of Kyle and these people. And they're like, "Why have you reached out to these people?" Like,
we reached out to Crystal. In fact, my friend Andrew chased her down the street and was like, "Hey, we're having a rally for Julian Assange tomorrow. Can you please come?" And she's like, "Yeah, definitely. I'll totally show." She didn't show up.
Like you realize that we constantly reach out to these people to
Yes.
go to the events. Working straight back. I'm not gonna name any names, but I had a lot of off the record conversations with these people. A lot of these people in the boutique left have been reached out personally by Worker Strike Back, and they did not engage with them.
If you follow me on Twitter, you will see I have no shame. I will reach out to literally anybody. I don't care who the fuck you are. If I think that I can grab your attention and get you to speak on Julian Assange or get you to support one of my rallies, I mean, I don't care if you're far right or a liberal or a green. I don't give a fuck. I go through my Twitter feed, go through my Twitter history. I have no shame. I reach out to literally everybody.
Yeah.
I practice what I preach. I don't have. I mean, that's
so people keep pretending that we're the divisive ones, and the reason why I treat them as oppositional now because they drew their line in the sand first, guys. They're the one who exclude us and refuse to take part of our events. So I'm not gonna fucking beg anybody. If you want to be oppositional, we're oppositional. It's just that simple. It didn't have to be this way. People keep saying stuff like this, and I know because Jimmy coming on tomorrow as well. They say, "Oh my God, RBN and Jimmy Dore line." Why would you say that? The only reason they say that is because I go on Jimmy Dore's show. There's nothing stopping the boutique left from having me on their show.
No,
nothing stopping them. I have been on Lee Camp's show. I have been on multiple shows, been on multiple programs. They refuse to have us on, and then Jimmy, who shows solidarity with other independent media channels, he's the only big channel that covered big Worker Strike Back.
Not
the
just,
only one.
Not just independent media. He is also one of the only. I don't want to say he's the only because I don't like when people use absolutes like that on these kinds of things. But my dude regularly helps me boost my stuff when I'm doing actions in DC all the time. He has me on his show. He puts our flyers up on his show. He talks about it. He tries to get people engaged and tries to get people. I mean, he is a regular and consistent supporter of activism, period, end of story. And I don't see a whole lot of these other boutique leftist channels interviewing activists and having, you know what I mean? They want the big name blue check people to come on and talk about the thing, but they don't talk to activists. They don't help hype that work. They don't talk about the rallies and the events and all of the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. That's not what they do. Jimmy does that regularly, consistently.
And that's why people are like, why do RBN go after Jimmy? Why do RBN like Jimmy? Like, when you guys ever seen Jimmy go after a direct action? Whenever you guys ever seen Jimmy call someone a Russian agent?
Never.
When have you guys ever seen this stuff? Like, I've seen Jimmy prop up action in small channels while I see the boutique left smear small channels and refuse to engage with them. And the people wonder why RBN has the position that we do. It's kind of obvious, right?
Yeah. And Jimmy's not perfect. Like, he's a friend of mine. He knows he's not perfect. Like, as he says, I'm just some pothead comedian in my garage. Like, and I don't always agree with him on things or the way that he presents things or whatever. But he is a solid, legitimate dude who is trying to do good work and has, and again, is a consistent supporter of other people trying to do good work. And I appreciate that. I mean, period. That's the end of it. And it's not that he's above reproach. It's not any of that. So he is just, in my opinion, the most solid. And he's got a huge fucking audience. He could have sold out long ago. He could have went the way of Crystal and Kyle. He could have started watering down his message and playing to the middle. That would have been so much easier for him. And instead, he sticks to his principles. And I think that's.
I just call it how I see it, man. If Jimmy was doing the shit that Jank was doing, we'll go after him. He just does. It's just that simple.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. People are like, why are RBN also so easy on him? When is he doing this shit lift stuff that we going after other channels for? Just that simple. Anyway, I'm gonna continue for a few super chats. CJ, you can always add yourself whenever you're ready. Thank you for $10, Zasmine. Marianne Williamson in his 2020 campaign promised a Department of Peace to promote international diplomacy over war. She didn't mention this in her announcement. The announcement, I still haven't watched the thing for. Like the statement that me and CJ did is the only part
It's so bad.
I can't stand. There's no way I can't stand. So I haven't actually watched the whole announcement. I'll be clear on that. I think the coverage that we did is the only thing I saw on it.
It's bad.
But she didn't mention in her announcement. Not surprising. Another one from Black Fruit. Cosplay Marianne. Fool me thrice, nah. Which is sad. It's sad seeing people fall for this shit 3 times.
Oh my God.
Right? Two, 3 times, man. That's so sad.
I tried to be really patient with people in 2020 because I understood that a lot of people didn't get it in 2016. I really did. Like, I still called Bernie out loud and hard, but I was trying to be patient with his supporters because I get it. But I have no more patience left. I really am.
I mean, I feel like at this point, I'm not being rude. I'm doing you a favor.
Yes.
You're being rude. No, I'm doing you a favor. I'm trying to save you money, bro.
Snap the
I'm trying
fuck
to show
out
you
of it.
another way. I'm trying to show you another way. I'm not being mean to you. I'm showing you another option.
I am kind of being mean to you because I'm sorry. We're out of fucking time. Like, shit's bad and getting worse really fucking quickly. And I cannot respect people who are still pretending like we can vote our way out of this shit. It's just not a reality. Electoral politics is completely fucking broken. The system is corrupt from front to back, start to finish, top to bottom. There is no way that you can get any progress, any substantive change through electoral politics. It's a fucking trap. It is a trap. And we need to start getting creative. We need to start organizing outside the system. We need to start taking care of each other, learn how to grow food, learn how to fix things, learn how to build things, learn how to sew, learn like basic medical stuff. Like, listen, the empire is failing. And frankly, I think we're well past the point of no return. And it is going to get really, really bad. People are going to get hurt. People are going to die, regardless of whether or not there's a violent revolution or a peaceful revolution. That doesn't matter. An empire as large as the United States failing, do you have any idea how brutal that is going to be? It is going to be rough, and that is going to happen. And you better start preparing yourself for it right fucking now. Like, people, okay, we don't give you other options. I'm giving you another option. Get fucking ready.
Well said,
Get ready.
And this stream pretty much devolved into ranting, but that's how we like it.
Every time I'm on. I'm sorry.
Man, you guys know we only got through one story today, but it's all good. It's all good. CJ gonna join us soon, and I can always say some other stories for tomorrow.
Maybe CJ can keep us on track.
I'm gonna read the super chat here. Thank for 499 Black Fruit, and this is what we mentioned yesterday, CJ. It is becoming clear that without a Marxist class consciousness, the left drifts into grift. Think Nina Tuna, Vanguard, or pretenders like Bernie. And I'm saying this because you have people like Anna, they're not strawman. People like Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, Cal Kalinske will openly say they're not Marxists. They're anti-Marxists. They don't care about Marx. And I'm not using that as a requirement because I don't think Mrs. is a Marxist.
I just don't like labels.
So yeah, so like labels. So I'm not even using that as a guide here, right? But these people are explicitly anti these ideas, and they constantly fall for these grifts. For the first time, you have people like RBN that is critiquing these social democrats from a Marxist perspective, and that never happened before. For years in the independent media apparatus, it was social democrats waging war against libertarians versus neocon Republicans versus liberal Democrats. That was it. And these people are not used to RBN having a critique of their politics and their strategy. That's why they lie about us. Like the Vanguard was just exposed doing by due dissidents. That's what we just exposed as well. They constantly lie about us because they cannot handle a Marxist critique to their left on their strategy. So that's a great comment, Black Fruit.
And a lot of people who aren't Marxists align with Marxists because they don't like capitalism. And there's a lot of people that have Marxist critiques that aren't Marxists, like Misty. You have your critiques we would consider Marxist critiques, but it's just you lived it. You get what I'm saying? And that's a lot what Marxism is, like lived experience and just applying what it should be. So
yeah,
great point. Great.
Thank you for $5, Marvin. Peace won't be allowed by the elites. Banksters, not profitable. Chaos war allows them to still take control. Yeah. I saw in that tweet where Marianne Williamson was begging for money. She mentioned how we got to stand up against the weapon defense industry. As she said, she supports Army Ukraine. I'm spoiling my next segment.
Yeah.
But that's what she said that.
Can I just say something really quickly about the whole Marxist thing?
Go ahead. This
Because
is a rant. This is a rant stream. So go ahead.
it happens every time I come on. I'm really
It's all
sorry.
good. All good.
So the idea of class consciousness, that's not like a Marxist specific thing. For example, if you look at East Palestine, that is a very Trump, like that's Trump country. Like that is Trump country. And we're seeing Marxism being practiced. We're seeing socialism being practiced. They're taking care of each other. They're doing mutual aid. You know what I mean? Like they're doing like the collective action. And that's there's a guy called John Russell who's from that area. He has a great show. If you guys should check it out. I think he's mostly on TikTok, but he does great stuff. He's been covering this really well. But he was talking about this exact thing where like a month ago or something, an older couple's house burned down. And in this very redneck, very rural, very Trump voting area, that immediately this community stepped up and they organized a fundraiser and they all got together at a bar and they, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And that's why I hate labels, because if you were to go to those people and say the word Marxism or say the word socialism, their brains would probably turn off and they wouldn't listen to anything that you had to say. But if you go to them and you just talk about those things, those ideas, collective action, mutual aid, all of that stuff, that they already practice it. They agree with us already. So it's very easy to bring them in on other things once they see that, okay, yeah, we agree on this stuff. And it's just labels are all we just saw it with like libertarians. Oh, well, I can't believe you want to organize with libertarians. You obviously don't know what libertarians are. Like people have no idea what these words actually mean.
Americans
and I think
no idea.
No, and labels piss me off because it's a really easy way to dismiss somebody without ever actually getting to know what they stand for. And that is so dangerous. And that we're missing out on an opportunity to build coalitions with people who agree with us on so many things, important things. And because they voted for Trump, you immediately dismiss them as irredeemable racist. And that's just not the case. I mean, most of these people are just hardworking American people who have been propagandized by the wrong thing and to be mad at the wrong people. But they agree with us on so many things. And if you stop sneering at them and looking down at them and wagging your finger at them and calling them stupid, it's very easy to have conversations with them and to invite them in on certain things where we do agree. And it's just so self-defeating to dismiss people out of hand, simply because of who they voted for. Like it's how many Trump voters voted for Bernie first? Lots of them. So people are missing that. There's so many opportunities. There's so many overlapping principles that we agree on. And if you just dismiss somebody out of hand because, oh, you voted for Joe Biden, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Shut up.
And this is on point because whether you guys believe it or not, that's actually a Marxist analysis there, because like you don't have to, like, people are inherently Marxist and believe in those principles. Capitalism brainwashes people. That's why you need to wake people up. And that's why mutual aid is important, because when people see this lifestyle being lived, when people see the Marxists and socialists there for them, you can bring them out of this system that brainwashed them away from Marxism. And that's what Kwame Ture explained. Kwame Ture explained, only thing that Marx really did was look at the European system and saw they relied on slavery, and then he compared that with indigenous tribes in South America and Africa, and they said these tribes are living the very what will later be referred to as socialist and Marxist ways. And that would lead to the critique of capitalism, which is essentially Marxism that comes from comparing it to otherwise indigenous societies. So people naturally lean that way, and they naturally lean toward a central planning model that's compassionate, that is actually about taking care of the people. It only when you have thugs armed with under a barrel of a gun, swords, or militia that forces people to worship kings, that establish a hierarchy on society, that forces feudalism that later becomes capitalism, that brainwash people into this cycle where they got to compete against each other. Anyway, I get into a little bit of weeds.
It's more natural because it's before the invention of money.
Yeah.
So people, would you prioritize if there's no money? You just prioritizing survival. So what do? You find creative ways to do that collectively with a small group of people, and that's all. It's just over time has developed this, and we're just really going back to communal. Communism is just communal. It's about your community. That's really it. We just have to deprogram people's understanding of communism and live in a communal style
Yeah, and
life.
to Missy's point, like I use any strategy necessary.
Yeah.
Whatever will give me the W is what I use. If I live in Missouri. If I'm talking to a redneck, I'm not leading with Marxism-Leninism.
No. Know your
I agree with
audience.
Missy on that. I'm all for that. So
You
I'm
have
not-
to know your audience. You
Yeah.
100%. Like I went on a libertarian podcast to talk about Julian Assange, and I used buzzwords like patriotism and the First Amendment and the Constitution. Know your audience, know how to present your ideas to them, and package it in a way that is going to be most appealing. Like that's just common fucking sense. And the idea that I just saw somebody in the comments say I'm wrong on labels because it's important to know the difference. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that labels are always used to divide. They are co-opted. Nancy Pelosi calls herself a progressive.
Co-opted.
Hillary Clinton calls herself a progressive. They take these words over, they co-opt them, and then they weaponize them against us. That is what happens every single time. It's why I don't like labels. And certainly, if you're going to go into a Trump voting county and talk to them about your ideas, if you want to lead off with saying socialism, you're not. Their brain shut off immediately. You're not going to get anywhere. Period.
Yeah.
End of story.
And to the second part I have on that, and we can get to some other super chats. Once again, I already accepted this is mostly just going to be a discussion stream. So we're going to get to some stories here soon.
What story have you guys done already? Have you done anything?
Not much.
Yeah, we still got.
I know. I've seen the, like you said, the best story of 2023.
Yeah,
I saw that segment. I
Yeah,
saw all of that
next one
stuff.
we're doing is the segment called "With Progressives Like These Who Needs Neocons." That's like the title. And then mostly the reaction to Rashida Tlaib and all that stuff.
Okay.
But before we get to that, I want to win no matter what. So I would, and I told a story about my friend. I always call her Becky because I don't want to give her name out, from that man in South Carolina, the Republican who liked Bernie. But she was like strictly pro-life and all this stuff. So she had a few conservative principles. And I literally did not hound it out that much on that. Like, oh, she like Bernie. That's a good step. Mm-hmm. And then literally after being with her for 4 or 5 months, like she's a great woman. She helped take care of me while I was down there. I had her for saying that she's a Republican to saying, I think I can consider myself more of a socialist, because I didn't like push her. It's like slow concept like introducing. So first I get her to acknowledge, to become more class conscious. I get her to acknowledge the liberal establishment and labels is bullshit. And then there's the second point where this is the nerd in me that come out. This is the part of me that created a YouTube channel where I do explain these labels to people, because I do think language have a meaning. And I explain why, what the difference between social democrats and Marxism is, so people would know.
Yeah.
And that's the educational part of it. But that's not what you lead with. That's like part 2 and 3. Like once I take you on the basic premise, then I can teach you some stuff and help you. And that's part of the propaganda segment that we do. Help you guys deprogram yourself. I do think that's a very, very important part of
sure.
this.
You're talking about 2 different perspectives.
Yeah.
You're describing labels from a worker's perspective, which is helpful with knowledge and education, and then you're describing labels how it's used against us
I don't think you
by the ruling class. That's exactly right.
And like I said, I still agree with Missy. I don't think you lean with that. But once they're on my side, you guys see why I do on the channel. This is why that's when we do education, so you guys can able to explain it to other people. Like, and because I do think it has meaning, but Misty has a great point that it shouldn't be used as a way, as a barrier to separate.
And that's what the ruling class does, though. It uses it that way. Right? So it's two different perspectives. That's all.
It's used. It's weaponized. It is 100% weaponized. Labels are that is. It's a huge part of the divisionary tactics, is keeping us divided into our teams. They want to use these labels and they also use these labels to create confusion about what they actually mean by calling AOC or Joe Biden a socialist. I mean, that is what, then when you go talk to Trump voters, that's what so many Trump voters will say AOC is a socialist. So if you lead, that's what I'm saying. If you lead with socialism, that's their idea of what socialism is. And it's wrong. And you're not going to convince them straight out of the gate until you have a conversation with them and start to get them on board with some of your ideas, and then you can explain to them that that's just not the case. And listen, I know Rome is very upfront. Like when he goes out and he talks to people, he is very loud about communism, and that's fine. That's his style too. And I'm not discrediting anybody's different take on it. I'm just saying, for me, I don't like labels. I don't want to marry myself to an ideological label. I don't want, like, I don't like it. I think it just causes division. And so for me, when I go out into these spaces and I have these conversations, it's not something I'm choosing to lead with.
Yeah, that's fair. And now, just for the sake of time, that conversation's fine. But
let's save it there. Go ahead.
Me and Missy can literally go all day. Thank you for the $10. I gotta learn to stop eventually. But anyway, thanks for the $10, Kyle. Every time Missy comes on the show, she brings it. That's why I often bring her on. So always great to have our honorary RBN member, Misty, joins us. And he also mentioned before I read this, Nick, it sounds like Freud. And thank you.
Yeah,
I did
Freud.
not know that. And I know I was like guessing every
It's
single
Sigmund
time I say
Freud.
I did the same. I did
So-
the same thing. He had to explain it to me in
Yeah.
a stream too. The
So
same way.
thank
He had to
you for
phonics.
correcting me because I'm not good with different dialects. I will straight up admit that. You guys know with different dialects. That's my weak point. I'm gonna get better as I continue. But Black Floyd said even Jimmy speaks of class consciousness, which he does. Once again, I have a few hard lines, and even in small disagreements with Jimmy, like my hard lines is: are you supporting the two-party duopoly? Are you pro or anti-war? Like these are things that like easy to pass. That so many people fail that Jimmy doesn't fail. Like it's easy to fail. We go after these people who are Zionists. We go after these people who are imperialists. We go after these people who justify voting Democrat. Jimmy does not do that.
No.
Jimmy shows up at events. He promotes events. He has Sabia on her show to
he
promote
donates. I don't know if he would want me to say that out loud, but he donates generously to events.
Listen, I don't want to speak about that, but yeah, he does. And you have Sabia speak. He has Sabia to promote her women panel event. And the boutique like that we criticize don't do that. So I don't understand why we even like when people say, why don't criticize? Like they're not even the same thing. Like they're not even the same category of people.
No.
As far as I'm concerned. Anyway, thank you for the $2, Marvin. A lot left, right, or Zionist. Zios kill, no pushback. Absolutely well said. Marvin. I think we have the last one I saw. Every other super chat we say to after the next few segments. Thank you, $5. Anthony Grimjob blocked me after I called out his progressive caucus leak, urging troops out of Syria after Tlaib was slammed. How does he get their emails? That's weird because like everyone keeps telling me these stories of Ryan Grimm blocking him. He refuses to block me. In fact, he still follows me.
Do you want to know something funny?
He still follows all of us. He still
so like I
follows
wonder what that
yeah.
means. Like what is up with this elitism?
He has to keep his ear engaged to what the people are saying, and RBN is.
Do you want to know something funny though? He once blocked me, talked shit about me on his timeline, and then unblocked me.
Yeah, guys, they can't handle Misty, man. Like they can't handle Misty. Like some of these people will follow. These people will follow what I say, but they will still block Misty. Misty's brutal. She don't hold back on this. She really hurts these people's feelings.
Yeah,
and
I'm blocked by a lot of people.
Yeah. So I just think that's weird because people always say I'm blocked by Ryan Grimm, I'm blocked by this person. Like TYT blocked me, but like why did Ryan Grimm block this person, but they don't block me? Like what? Like is
David Sirota's king blocker though. David Sirota's king blocker.
Oh my God, he blocked me. He's a journalist. He's a journalist. He blocked me for asking him to speak for Assange. I'm not joking.
It's Sabby.
Sabby.
Breaking Silicon Valley Bank just collapsed. Oh, I did not see this largest collapse since 2008. I was offline live today.
Yeah, I saw that on the way coming on. Yeah,
I might have to do like a live segment where I just look this shit up and we can read a story on it. But
Ro Khanna was desperately tweeting out help to help bail them out.
Of course, that motherfucker. Let's get to the next segment. Misty, just let us know how you doing on time. Private.
I'm fine.
Just let us know.
I'm chilling too. I got all day. My doctor's appointment's over, so I'm good.
So how much this segment I call with progressives like these who needs neocons. So we just had a story where the United States Pentagon did not want to refer Russia for war crimes at The Hague because they didn't want to open up the United States American soldiers for that. And that's one thing in my favorite story of 2023, just like the George Bush fraudulent slip, because it says everything about our empire and the contradictions. But despite these contradictions, you have the NATO left who they are proud to be an active agent of the U.S. empire. That is why they are not the best among us. The new job of AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the squad is to be the progressive PR wing of the U.S. empire. You have Marianne Williamson. Oh, we got to be in Afghanistan because Afghan women. Bernie and the progressives sold the lie that Biden is supporting Ukraine because we care about the Ukrainian people. They are there to give the illusion of progressive progress among the empire, meaning they are propagandists of the highest order. And I am not exaggerating. I wanted to talk to anyone about this. I rank them the same level of Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Same level. They do different shit. Like Joe Manchin's an out and out neoliberal guy. But when you look at what AOC and the squad cover for, they perform the same role and they are responsible for the same harm as someone like Joe Manchin. They're the kind of people who manufacture consent for increased Capitol Police funding, which was later used against indigenous people. And God knows how many protests since then. That's the example I always use because that's what I covered at the time. But God knows how many protests they shut down since then. But that was the squad is used to manufacture consent for. They was here to push Russiagate so they can later justify Ukraine war. Guys, they're not the best among us. They are active agents of Democrats in the empire and must be resisted. And that's the position the boutique left and NATO left cannot handle from us. Now, despite the NATO and boutique left, they lose influence. People had enough of the NATO left bullshit. That's why you're seeing these people being called out. And Pramila, not I can say Pramila, but Rashida Tlaib, her body language here says it all. I'm gonna let the video play. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this is that was tweeted by Citizen Free Press. Rashida Tlaib confronted at University of Michigan over her pro-war stance in Ukraine. So you can tell by her body language when you watch this and the protocol. CJ, as we explained before, they're ready for this shit now.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen the videos. They know this shit's gonna happen. They know they're in the wrong. And look at this cowardly weasel. Know that Rashida Tlaib, and look at what she does to get out of it.
So this is the last question.
That's not how we're doing
questions. Nope.
Any place that you could get more money for the Wayne County region, that it would come from the $100 billion that we've sent to over $100 billion to Ukraine to fight a war. Which I
look at that smirk.
Look at dude on the left.
Look,
he's like rolling his eyes.
The ear scratch.
Yeah.
He looks like he's almost slumping down.
Yes.
What a weasel. I think isn't he the guy on CNN that's supposed to be progressive or something like that?
Yeah,
Isn't
I think
that
he
the
ran
guy?
for something.
Yeah. And then the girl on the right, that's the COVID doctor lady, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Maybe I'm
let's
wrong.
continue.
But anyway, go
if
ahead.
we're talking about moneyed interests and talking about big lobbying groups, that there wouldn't be more of an effort to go after that. Further, the revelations recently over the Nord Stream pipeline explosion from Seymour Hersh, which point to the very clear evidence that it was the United States that did the bombing.
Look at that. She's like, oh my God, this motherfucker exposing our crimes. Oh my God. Who does that?
Yeah.
They think about like CJ, we had this conversation yesterday. Like these things that they do, like the term purity ploy would never semi-principle. That what Cal Lindsay say about these people.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? Like they say and do things that we would never do. Like it shows their nature and is inherently different than ours. Their soul has already sold out, so they can't control these ticks. So when this guy mentions the fact that the United States blew up Nord Stream pipeline, my reaction would never be,
no.
Like, dude, I would never have that reaction. That's her first human reaction to hearing this. Is, this nigga's exposing us. What? Even if I was elected, let's say I was an elected official, let's say I was good faith, and I didn't even know about this, he'd be like, let's say he brings this up, I'll be like, what? Like, it'll be completely different. I'm like, what are you talking about? Let's say I don't know. What? The Nord Stream. I wasn't briefed on that, sir. What? That what you do if you're good faith. Look at what she does. Immediately like, fuck. Look at her.
You know what? Hold on, Nick. Let me say this.
Go
Can
ahead.
you rewind it back to her just to where you can see her on there? And let's
watch the first part again, and then I'll pass to you.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
County region, that it would come from the $100 billion that we've sent to over $100 billion to Ukraine to fight a war, which I can't imagine if we're talking about moneyed interests and talking about big lobbying groups, that there wouldn't be more of an effort to go after that. Further, the revelations recently over the Nord Stream pipeline explosion from Seymour Hersh, which point to the very clear evidence that it was the United States that did the bombing, I think is a very important thing to identify, because you, Congresswoman, have not voted against the funding of Ukraine. And it puts to the lie the whole notion of the rules-based. It's an important question. Let me finish.
I know it. Write it down.
And so my question is, if write it down, if we're promoting this idea of a rules-based order, yet we proceed to blow up pipelines, including in ally Germany, then
This is crazy.
will you continue to go along with this lie?
Habibi, thank you. We really appreciate the input, and thank you for your care and consideration. We have a process that we've been following. I think.
Here we go.
have a
Civility
process.
politics.
Yeah.
We have a civility politics that come say, but let me say this point. What he's doing and what these smirks and these ticks on their face is that the thing that everybody in this room is pretending to not know about, there's a person who's calling them and saying, hey guys, look at this elephant right here that we're all who are supposedly progressive, that we're pretending didn't happen. I'm going to go ahead and put this mirror up to your guys' faces and tell you right now, the Nord Stream pipeline, I'm saying it out loud, everybody, all of you who are pretending to be left and pretending not to know this, and that's the reaction. It's like, damn.
Well, and they're pretending.
I'm on camera, and somebody's saying this out loud. I no longer can pretend that I don't know about this. Damn. Go ahead, Misty. Sorry.
Well, and they're also pretending the people in the room are like keep saying this isn't related because they're talking about the water situation in Michigan, and this isn't related. Yes, it fucking is. We've sent over $100 billion so far to the most corrupt country in Europe. Who knows where that money is? Well, we know where the money's going. It's going to defense contractors and weapons manufacturers, and Zelensky's knows. But it absolutely is related. All of this stuff is related, and I need people to realize that, like. Every single thing that we talk about is interconnected. Every single thing. All of these things are connected. They all go back to a central, and that it really just goes back to a corrupt system. But if you care about education, that is also connected to clean water. If you care about, like, all of these things are tied together. And his question regarding sending $100 billion to Ukraine and not talking about the fact that Joe Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, allegedly, I don't want to get you in trouble. But that absolutely is related to the fact that we can't get clean water in this country.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it. It is related.
And them implying otherwise is them apologizing for the empire. You guys understand? They're saying, oh, the war machine is not connected to your struggle. And we make the argument that it is.
It is.
It is. They're here to tell you that you can be agents of the empire as long as you play nice, you can benefit from the empire. That's the message that the NATO left constantly want to send. Now let's go back. Look at this, how they just completely ignore this question. And Rashida knows this. Her mindset here is like, oh, fuck, they let a real one in. Oh, finally a good question. And this is why this guy, this is not a critique at all, could have 100% been meaner. Like, this would have been great. It is Jose. This is why I'm pro interrupting politicians. And now that we see this, and this is why it's so important to analyze these as activists, our strategy at these things need to be you bring a friend, you speak, and once they shut you down, the other person starts speaking.
Yes.
That's such a great tactic. Such a great tactic.
And the plan is to not have a conversation with them because they will not do that anyway. The plan is to get your message out. And once they shut you down, you keep talking until they physically apprehend you because that message is powerful enough.
Yes.
Then once that happens, the other person go until they physically apprehend you. I'm a big fan of this. And when I have my chapter in Kansas City, I definitely could see myself following this footstep. Like, I wouldn't call out Emmanuel Cleaver to his face.
Yes,
that would be great.
Everybody should be doing it. Seriously, like I'm gonna see if I can figure out a way to get some people together. Everybody should be. Politicians shouldn't be able to go anywhere without being heckled. I mean, the state of the country right now. I'm sorry, I don't do civility politics. I don't give a fuck. If you sign up to be an elected official and you're not doing your job, you should be ready to be called out on a regular basis. And literally, people are dying, and they want me to be nice about it. Fuck off.
And you don't see, and this is what our point, CJ. I'll pass to you. I see you about trying to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you see how they weaponize civility politics, and this is RBN's number one message. And we're going to continue to make the boutique left uncomfortable because we refuse to give an inch into civility politics, because civility politics is the enemy of the working class. Look at how look at what they do to shut down this anti-war activists. Are they showing him civility? Are they being nice to these protesters?
Are they nice to Julian Assange? Or were they nice to? No, absolutely not. They're not nice to us at all. They're killing us.
They're not nice to us, so we shouldn't be nice to them. So I'm going to go back 20 seconds. I want you guys to see this again. This is how they weaponize civility politics.
Rules-based order. Yeah, we proceed to blow up pipelines, including an ally, Germany. Then will you continue to go along?
Look, you see that part? That's the part I want to cover as well. Look at this. He's grilling them on the crimes that they are supporting. So the presentator goes to Rashida. Yeah.
Can you guys tell what he says?
Look,
like,
he
try
said,
to read his. Should I let him
yeah.
finish? Or is that what he says?
Yeah, let's
And she says no.
Like, he pretty much like, do you want to take this question?
Will you
look?
Do you want to answer him? Do you want to answer him? And she says no.
No.
Fuck you.
Oh my God, that's weak as fuck, man.
Yes, it
That
is.
is weak as fuck. But listen, Misty and Nick, we have to really just take 10 seconds to just understand the left is being protested for war. This is the left.
Oh, fucking ridiculous.
It is so, like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
The left is the one that's being protested for war and pushing back and making excuses and ducking and diving. The left, man, this is so, this is why
crazy.
I say this is such a different, this is not a regular time.
No.
Like, oh, Marianne Williamson in work. No, she won't, man. This is
No.
such not a regular time where the left is doing this. This is so.
Well, to be fair,
so bigger. Go
this
ahead.
is not the left. These are hipster liberals. These are people who LARP as leftists in order to siphon revolutionary energy into a corrupted system. That's all that they're here to do. They are not actually leftists, and that's again why these labels are so often used as to be co-opted and used to divide, because they label these people as the left when they're not, and then that is used to cause confusion, and then people don't understand each other, and it's just Rashida Tlaib is not a leftist, nowhere close to a leftist. I'm sorry, you don't get to be a leftist and then support Nazis, actual fucking Nazis.
I feel like
really?
that's a line in the sand. Like, I feel like that's not unreasonable.
That's pretty basic.
I feel like that's not unreasonable.
That's pretty
basic. Continue. I feel like we got the most out of that video, so I'm gonna move on for a second time to our segment is with progressives like these who need steel time. So we saw Rashida Tlaib. That's the most recent version. And now you guys, I'm gonna explain why we are so oppositional to these people. I embrace their hatred. like whenever I see one of these Bernie, Marianne Williamson people get upset at us for criticizing them, I'm like, goddamn right, I criticize her. We to do it again. I want you guys to dislike us because the policies that you guys are supporting is unacceptable.
Yes.
Unacceptable. So we saw Rashida Tlaib be the nice little NATO left military industrial complex supporting bootlicker that she is. In this interview between Marianne Williamson and Jordan, it's so glorious. Like me saying that we reacted to it a while ago. This interview, I had no interest in watching this. And then we did a breakdown. I was like, this is great because Jordan was asking her questions with the hope that she was getting these things right.
Yeah.
And you can see like the visible disappointment.
Yes.
And it's like, and you can tell like, he was asking her questions with the goal of proving people like us wrong about it. Like, CJ, do you get that same vibe? Like he was asking her
yes,
questions
absolutely.
us wrong. And then she was giving her answers, and he was like, oh shit, the RBN motherfucker was right about her. Like you can tell. And this is one example. The other example is when he asked her about, he said Bernie was weak on calling out Biden corruption. He brought he used the Zephyr Teachout example. And then he said, will you not make the same mistake that Bernie did and call out Biden's corruption? And then she immediately was like, what do you mean Biden corruption? And then Jordan was like, for the love of God, Please, please don't do this. I got a statement like that shit was a blast. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that was a that was a fun segment.
My favorite part is when she brings up the German Green Party as like an excuse,
Lord,
and I'm like,
hilarious.
homegirl, they're like far right. Really, you think that because they're green that's no? She doesn't even know like what she's supporting. Like she doesn't even know. She's completely ignorant about the thing she's actually supporting. It is mind blowing.
And remember, I'm gonna play this clip now. Remember, this person is running to be commander-in-chief, but RBN is supposed to take this seriously, guys. Oh, here it is.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to.
And that's the funny part about the question, because Jordan asked the question to kind of make it clear, like, Marianne, should be our position here. He's
trying so hard.
I don't know if you saw the interview, Misty, but
yes,
CJ, I don't know if you remember it, but he was like, there are people struggling in Flint, Michigan right now, and despite that, they send all this money in Ukraine. So he's telling her that as like hey, by the way,
he's trying
he's
so
like, this
hard.
is the progressive line right here, Marianne. Let me explain you the progressive line right here. Then I'm going to ask you a question right after.
He's like giving it to her on a silver platter, and she's still fucked it up.
She still fucks it up. This is
amazing.
So let's watch it again. This is unbelievable.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to accelerate diplomacy.
First of all, the United States doesn't have the power. You know, neither Ukraine nor Russia are interested right now in sitting down at the table. The money, I don't think it's accurate to say we're giving a blank check.
Lies.
So the country that is literally financing this entire war, you have to realize that multiple NATO countries already tapped out.
Yeah.
The United States is funding this program exclusively. You have like a very small percent. You got like 80% of funds by the United States in this. But Marianne says we're powerless.
Dude, we are almost wholly like, listen, not just us, but other NATO countries, but the United States specifically. And I don't even like come for me if you want. We are almost entirely responsible for provoking this conflict. Yes, I said it. It's not unprovoked. We absolutely provoked it. Are you joking me? People keep saying, oh, well, doesn't Ukraine have a right to defend itself? Doesn't Russia? What, doesn't Russia have a right to defend itself against NATO expansion and the fact that we've got nuclear weapons on their borders? And really, they don't have a right to defend themselves either. Like the hypocrisy and to actually pretend like we care about the sovereignty of Ukraine. We overthrew their government and installed a puppet. We don't give a fuck about the sovereignty of Ukraine or Syria or Iran or anywhere else. That's not our gig. We don't give a shit. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back a little bit and we let it continue. This is only 50 seconds. I'm gonna let it play the whole time because I could stop this a lot, but I think I literally think the answer is so absurd. I literally don't have to explain anything anymore. So I'm gonna let it play all the way through because I think it's absurd.
It just seems like there's like a blank check here for Ukraine, but not serious efforts by Biden to actually try to accelerate diplomacy.
First of all, the United States doesn't have the power. You know, neither Ukraine nor Russia are interested right now in sitting down at the table. The money, I don't think it's accurate to say we're giving a blank check. We are giving financial support and military support. There is no doubt about that, which I support. I support the same way that other leftists in Europe support. The Green Party of Germany supports the giving of those tanks.
You think the United States is the leading superpower in the world, who frankly is NATO, has no power here to...
At this point, Jordan is dumbfounded, like, oh, I cannot believe she's doing this on my channel.
He's so uncomfortable. I love it.
I think at this point, Jordan's like, damn, RB is definitely about to use this clip. Fuck.
So I might as well do my journalistic best and get these questions out of her because this is over for this one.
I give him props. Those good questions in the interview. I give him props for that when I watch that.
Jordan does some good work. He just
I give him props for that. So let's continue.
To kickstart diplomacy.
Right now, both Ukraine and Russia are saying, hey, wait a minute, we're winning. I mean, that's the position of both of those countries right now. So maybe you're right. Maybe the United States could say, hey, guys, stop right now. I'm not under the impression that the United States could say, hey, guys, stop right now.
It just seems like there's like a blank check.
That's a loop. So that's Marianne Wilson on Ukraine. And I showed this before, but it's going with a segment that with progressives like these who need neocons. And even when I looked at Marianne's Israel rhetoric. Her Israel rhetoric is very easy to trick, like NATO boutique leftists who are not well disciplined on this issue, because she speaks about like we got to stand up to the Palestinians while she still like support the concept of Israel and the two-state solution. So what we have seen is the result of the two-state solution. The two-state solution led us to where we are right now. Any other interpretation that is wishful thinking, that there's somehow a better implementation of two-state solution. If only Israel wasn't fascist, the two-state solution would work. Yes, you're right. The problem is they're fascist. They're like saying America in 1950s. It's like, man, separate but equal would have worked if only America wasn't racist. The problem is America's racist. That's what people like Marianne Wilson does. So I read it yesterday, but I'm doing this again for the sake of this segment. Q, our friend of the show, he's during one of Marianne Wilson's Zionist unhinged Twitter rants that she deleted. She had a lot of people like Q and people that liked her, like I used to, that was trying to explain this stuff to her. And the way she was doubling down, it what kind of made me like, nah, she's done to me, right? So Q, being very nice, she probably thought he was mansplaining her though. Being very nice, explains how the state Israel was founded on the violent expulsion and liquidation of indigenous Palestinians. So what does it mean when you say, what she does all the time, that Israel has the right to exist, especially considering that very state is engaged in a campaign of ethnic cleansing as we speak? And this was last year. No, I mean, I think 2021. It's way worse now. And then you have Marianne Wilson that says, in response to this fact, I am not enrolled in your interpretation of events. For one, who the fuck talks like that? Sound like
politicians.
Sound like a supervillain. I'm not enrolled in your interpretation. What are you talking about? This is Marianne Wilson's version of alternative facts.
Are you showing the tweet? The video is still on the screen if you're showing the tweet.
Shit. Let me sorry.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, on my new version, I got to put an extra button.
Yes, it's annoying.
So damn, you got to see the whole thing, but at least I read it. But this was This is Marianne Wilson saying, I'm not enrolled in your interpretation of events. Genocide denial. Like if a right winger did that, that would be considered genocide denial. But a Zionist, not a deal breaker for progressives, not a deal breaker for them. And also, the last receipt I have on this story, the same people who apologize for Marianne Wilson, like Breaking Points, is also cited about Katie Porter.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, she's terrible.
Who's best buddies with Benjamin fucking Netanyahu? Are you joking me?
Remember the title of this segment, but progressives like these who need neocons. So, as Israel is at the height, and I did segments before because RBN, unlike the boutique left, actually covers apartheid. I did a segment where I explained how Benjamin Netanyahu is actually putting the most far-right Leopard members of Israel, the most far-right fascists and high members of government, and people keep calling him a moderate. And I realized, like, that's actually propaganda because Benjamin Netanyahu is empowering these people, and they say, oh, I'm the good guy. But he's not. He's doing everything they want. So it's actually complex propaganda that I didn't even see through at first. I was like, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu was like a moderate among these people. Now, then I reflected again, like, no, they're actually doing a very complex.
He's literally one of the worst people on earth.
So
like, literally.
So Netanyahu brought these people to rehabilitate his image as he continued doing Netanyahu shit. So as Netanyahu continued his reign of terror, you have Katie Porter that is saying this. She's extremely impressed by Netanyahu after she visited Israel. But this is the person that Breaking Points is propping up, along with Marianne Wilson, and the same with John Fetterman. So how many times do they keep making these mistakes before they stop becoming mistakes?
Yeah, they're not mistakes.
At what point do we say they are a pro-Zionist channel? Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that they're a pro-Zionist, pro-empire channel? Because they keep popping up pro-Zionist, pro-empire candidates. Any last thoughts you guys have? And I still have the Taibbi section as well.
Yeah, this also can go maybe progressive except for Palestine. Like there's a lot of different overlapping layers, but this speaks to just the broader context of the realignment. Like I was saying, like we're protesting war, and the people who are defending it are the left. Like this is like a sort of a realignment, and it literally comes from them latching on to the Democratic Party, them wanting to be in the good graces of the Democratic Party, you know, like the progressives, and then the people who want to be in the good graces of the progressives, all of like the Bernie industrial complex, they latch on to them. So, you know, Democratic Party moves right, everybody moves right. Who's latched on?
Yeah,
and we're moving left. And that's the separation. And that's why, and to speak to your point, this will be my last point, to speak to what you said earlier, Misty, these are single issue people we would team up for just single issue.
Yeah.
These aren't like buddy comrades. These are my community. That's not what this is. These are single issue people we would team up with. And that's who would like Anina Turner. We need to get away from the idea that we're teaming up with them for some sort of revolution. That is not the case. That's not.
No, absolutely not. And I think that that's what so many people are failing to understand. Listen, again, like I said, I'm selfish. Okay. I want to get some shit done. And so I am willing to do just about anything to get some stuff done. And especially when it comes to war, especially when it comes to something like freeing Palestine or getting the fuck out of Syria. I don't care if Matt Gaetz wants to introduce a resolution into Congress, I'm going to fucking support that shit to get troops out of Syria. You're goddamn right. I am, unapologetically, every single time. I mean, and like CJ just said, the idea that there was a vote recently to end the sanctions on Syria, which just experienced a devastating series of earthquakes. Thousands of people died. They are struggling like you would not believe. And only 2 people voted against this shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey.
Ridiculous.
And meanwhile, our good buddies, our good friends Israel, are bombing the airport in Aleppo, where all of the aid is coming in for the victims of the earthquakes. And we're enabling that, and we're continuing our sanctions. So don't come and talk to me about how we care about human rights or sovereignty. We're occupying Syria illegally and have been forever. We're not welcome there. We never have been. We're stealing their oil. We're sanctioning them. And then when they experience a devastating natural disaster, we continue to sanction them and allow Israel to bomb their airport so that they can't get aid. Again, we are not the good guys at all. And it's the right who is and that's not to say that the right is anti-war. They're very hawkish on China. And that's Caitlin Johnstone. I don't know if you guys saw that thread of tweets that she put out, but she summed it up so well. She said, on China, it's the right that's very hawkish on China with there's some Democrats that go along with it for the numbers, and it's the opposite for Russia. The left is really hawkish on Russia, and some of the right, and that's how they play you. That is exactly how this all works out. It is one team. It is all a charade. It is a soap opera with psychopaths. That's all that this is. They're putting on a show for you. They are all owned and operated by the exact same people, by the exact same weapons manufacturers and the exact same defense contractors, and they all work to continue war because that's what their donors want. And they are not on different teams. They are on team them, and it is us against them. And that is why I do not care if it means I got to work with some Trump voters to get our troops out of Syria or to free Palestine. You're fucking right. I'll do it. And you can come for me if you want to. I make no apologies for it, and I'm going to continue to do it. So stay mad.
Yeah, basically. Now I think this is a good time to interject this segment. I don't know why I fit it. I'll make this a short segment because I want to report on this regarding Syria. And that will make the progressives so disgusting because I see a lot of people giving them praise because these people are obsessed with praising politicians. So they keep saying stuff like AOC and the squad voted to end the Syrian occupation. Yay! Meanwhile, this vote failed overwhelmingly. So they knew that was going to fail. Meanwhile, they voted to keep the sanctions in Syria. So essentially what they did is they knew that this vote on withdrawing troops was going to fail from Syria, but then they voted to keep the sanctions, knowing that the status quo would stay the same. So then they can say, oh, hey, at least I voted to withdraw troops from Syria.
Yes.
That's what, and then the access journalists, the propaganda CIA leftists are running with it and say, oh my God, look, you guys are wrong. AOC did vote against Syria, ignoring the sanction part.
And that is the point.
You see how the Bernie industrial complex has gone into the dark side essentially because they're parroting lies. They're parroting and shield. They're helping to shield. So we all know like what happened with the strike and the whole setup to sick days separate. that was all a scam to make it up, to make it seem like something else. This is the same thing that happened with these 2 Syrian votes.
Yeah, it's all about
for the
optics.
troops. Yeah, this is just one is to wash the other. One is to wash the other. The one thing they're washing, though, is the thing that's doing the damage, the thing that actually went through. The thing they voted against never actually is stopped.
No. And just to be clear, the Bernie industrial movement or whatever has always been the dark side. And that's, listen, let's not, I'm so tired of this because people are still pretending like Bernie Sanders is a good guy. And listen, I supported him in 2016, very cautiously, understanding who he was. But a lot of his supporters are clueless about who this guy actually is. Dude has always been an imperialist, always, always, always. At Kosovo and the Syria, like nonstop supporter of war. Even his Iraq vote, if you go back and look at why he actually voted against the war in Iraq, which by the way, he voted in favor of conflict in Iraq twice under Clinton, only voted against it under Bush. And the reason why he did it has nothing to do with the morality of it. It was go back and watch it. I mean, this dude has never been who he claims to be. He is a shrewd politician. He has done a very good job of creating this mythology around himself where everybody thinks that he's this nice democratic socialist, this grumpy grandpa kind of figure. He's not a good dude. I'm sorry, I'll say it again. If you count war criminals as your good friends, you need better fucking friends. You are the company you keep. And he does not keep very good company.
So I'll read this tweet. This is gonna be a short segment because I want to make sure I at least cover Syria. Hassan, this is from Hassan Mafi. So the U.S. Congress has voted against ending the occupation of Syria. This is their version of the rules-based order. They accuse Russia of violating Ukraine's sovereignty, but they continue to violate Syria's sovereignty. What a bunch of despicable hypocrites. And I need to see if I didn't save this, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. I think I retweeted it because Zankis tweeted this out. Here it is. Yeah, thank God I found it pretty quick. Here it is. Here's Zankis. You guys notice? I saw this earlier. The United States is currently occupying a larger portion of Syria than Russia is of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the NATO left has spent all the time bitching about Russia. They're still supporting Joe Biden, who is committing this crime. And guess who is one of the progressives who failed this easy vote? Even the militia squad knew better. Maxwell Frost.
Oh Lord!
Surprise!
JB Font, our RBN brother, is a constituent of Maxwell Frost. Maxwell Frost voted no. He voted nay to pull out troops of Syria. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if you guys agree with me. I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because I feel like the new progressives, and this is the point, are worse than like even the squad because Maxwell Frost has been the worst. Like he even did something the squad wouldn't do here. The same way with Jamal Bowman. I rate Jamal Bowman.
Yeah, they're degrading.
Yeah,
the new as they bring in new, they're degraded. Yeah,
they degraded CJ. So one thing I told you, this quantification at the end of the day doesn't really even matter. But the idea that we're gonna elect new progressives, I reject because the new progressives are worse than AOC in the squad. Maxwell Frost and Jamal Bowman are not even having a honeymoon period.
No,
they coming out, they gate selling now. What do you guys think the next generation of professional managerial class who want to be the next AOC? Can you guys imagine how shitty Nia Turner would have been? All these other progressives would have been.
Yeah,
that's my last point on this. And CJ, I know you had a segment. I actually only got like 20 minutes.
No, we can do the Matt Taibbi. I wanted to get into the Matt Taibbi. That's what I really wanted to make the segment, the stream for.
I probably should do that one because it's part of the title.
Oh, my bad. If you that wasn't the plan, I thought that's
that's fine. That's fine. That actually works because this would be my last segment. I know you got one too. Yeah, this would be my last segment. Let me pull this up.
The Taibbi stuff.
Yeah.
You know I'm gonna want to cover that because it just falls right into those attacks on journalism.
Yeah, we got Missy here too.
Yeah, I can do some announcements while you get it ready. Real quick.
This announcement.
I'll do some announcements. So thank you, Misty, for joining us on this Saturday. And like the video, everybody. We got up to like 300 and some odd people. 400 and some odd people watching. So let's make sure we have at least 350 likes. Last time I checked, we were somewhere around 300 or something like that. So $350 is the target. Join our Substack if you want to get notifications when we go live. I think this is sort of unannounced. You don't always do Fridays at this time. If you want to get the notification of when we're going live with Jimmy Dore tomorrow, make sure you join our Substack so we can get you that link. We've hit 31,700. Thank you for everybody that has subscribed. And if you didn't see it already, we have memberships. $3.99. We only have one level until we discuss later to see if we want to introduce multiple levels. And don't forget, our website is available. Just make sure you check it out. You can check out some of the work that we've done. We do have to update some of the stuff we've done on there, but to the point that you guys were, the both of you were talking about with the Vanguard, you can actually see the outreach we do on our website. And here it is. So you can just go to our website, the URL is there. You can see where we talk about what we're doing at the mission. I'm sorry, the mission for the library is a better way of saying it. There's a couple of pictures on here for that, but we do need to update with the updated interior that Rome has been working on. And some of the other tour for the poor, you can look through. This is when they gave out the water. I don't know if that's Jackson or Flint. They've done both. Rome cutting hair. This is when they were out in Nick's territory. They gave out thousands of diapers, if not hundreds, maybe hundreds, if thousands was this case.
I mean, we got so many diapers at first, and we was like, bro, there's no way we're giving this away. And then at the end, we had to make another run. We was like, bro, what the? It was crazy. Anyway,
I need to talk to Rome and see if he'd be willing to come to East Palestine.
Oh, that would be dope. I'm sure he would. I'm absolutely sure he would.
I would totally help him out with that. I'm like,
Rome just need the idea. That's all. Like, give Rome an idea, he's on it.
Yeah, he'll
I'm
be on
3
it.
hours from there, but I will 100%.
Yeah,
go.
He would definitely, absolutely. And here's Sabby out doing some work. This is at one of the marches for Assange, and then when Rome was out there in Boston doing some work. That's the bench they created. There's a bus stop there, and they didn't have, working class people didn't have anywhere to sit. So he built a bench. So there's a lot of work, and this is not even half the stuff we have on the website. We still have a lot of stuff to add to the website, and I think that's it, Nick. So I'll pass it to you. And if you're ready,
I'm so glad that you guys are here. That you guys do this story. I can't even with this shit. I can't even with the people, man. I can't even. So I told you guys before when the Twitter files first hit. I kind of lost interest as well, because that's when it became much more of a right-wing partisan thing. But it still was a very important story because it exposed how Twitter was working with the CIA and the military-industrial complex. And that was the leak I was looking forward to the most, and that is the leak that we covered. It's very, very important stuff. It shows how the government is in bed with social media companies. And the people who are melting down about the revelation are Democrats. Mm-hmm. And you would think it would be only the shit libs, like the Pete Buttigieg style supporters. But no, you even have the NATO left. They are cheering on Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the person who rigged an election against Bernie Sanders. These people are now yes queening on Twitter. And I'm going to show you guys these clips because there's a ton of them. And for the second time, I'm not going to go through a lot of them because this is the one that caught my mind. I wasn't necessarily interested in watching politicians melt down at Matt Taibbi over his base reporting, exposing the corruption and connection between our government and social media. But I found one exchange particularly interesting. And I watched this exchange, and I was like, I can't even with these motherfuckers. I can't even. Look, what Debbie Wasserman Schultz is criticizing Matt Taibbi for is patently ridiculous.
Yes.
And once again, I even said at the time, I wish that there was more balanced coverage because I know people on the left. I was suppressed. There's a lot of people on the left that were suppressed, and my criticism, I wish he would expose that. But he still did a good job exposing the connection to CIA, the Pentagon,
Well, to be fair,
overall
he can
angle of
only
it.
expose what's given to him. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's fair too.
the releases are being curated. It's not WikiLeaks style releases. Elon Musk has an agenda, and he is curating what he gives out to reporters. And so
Right.
Taibbi can only report on what's given him, just as Julian Assange can only release what's given to him. And so I don't think this is a Taibbi problem. I think it's a Musk problem. And I think I don't always agree with Matt Taibbi, but I do know one thing for certain. He takes being a journalist, and by journalist I mean a real journalist, not like a MSNBC.
Oh yeah,
like,
Misty, in this trial, sorry to interrupt you, but in the trial, they literally kept saying, "Oh, so-called journalists."
It's like calling Seymour Hersh a blogger. Seymour fucking Hersh. Are you joking?
And the thing is, like, compare to fucking who the people you guys great interviews to.
Well,
compared to Rachel Maddow,
yes,
a journalist, but not Matt Taibbi.
Yes,
and you're gonna see this in this, and I'm gonna pull this clip. I don't got to save, but I think I can find it where Matt Taibbi like. You guys keep calling me a so-called journalist. Like, bro, you guys realize I won the Pulitzer Prize. I'm a best prize. Like, he lists all his credentials. He's like,
yeah,
there's a fraction of what MSNBC people have. MSNBC and New York Times people got that job because their daddy knew somebody.
Yeah. Well, like that's what I was saying, is that I don't always agree with Matt Taibbi, but I know for sure, in my opinion, as somebody who pays very close attention to journalism, he takes being a legitimate journalist incredibly seriously. He really takes his credibility on being a journalist incredibly seriously. I think he's a legit dude. I think he's doing the best work that he can. I don't think he's being paid by Elon Musk. I think that's a ridiculous assertion. And the idea that Debbie Wasserman Schultz, of all people, is lecturing him about ethics.
Yeah.
Are you joking? Sit the fuck down.
Now let's actually
And
watch
let me chime in real quick about see what I always thought. Maybe this is new. Maybe this is what they call nuance. What I always thought about left versus right with these Twitter files is that the reason, to me, it would be more is because Twitter is a liberal sort of organization, and then the Democratic Party is a liberal organization, so they kind of have the same agenda. And another reason it wouldn't be as much as for the left is that the opposition to the left is sort of built into the system because it's capitalism.
Yes.
So even, you know what I'm saying, there's just normal just ideologies and belief that people just have that is a normal backstop, where it wouldn't even, you get what I'm saying? So we're just going to be picked up. We'll be picked up on a regular sweep by Twitter because they're capitalists, not necessarily because somebody put a sweep in. So that's what I'm saying. It's more, it's opposition to the left is built into the system, not the same way that the right is. Go ahead, Miss.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And I think also we have to remember that there is a lot of focus on silencing the right because they've already kind of systematically neutered the left.
Mm-hmm.
The left doesn't exist, and that's because there's been such an effort already made and already put into destroying the left because they don't like the left is always going to be a bigger threat than the right, and they have done a very good job. And that's part of the whole AOC, the squad, Bernie Sanders, that is part of that dismantling of leftist ideas.
Go ahead.
Let's get into the video. Because once again, we didn't get to it yet. I can't even. This is ridiculous.
This is really hurt. This really hurts things right here.
Once you hear her argument, and then I'm gonna show you the booty left that is praising her for this unbelievable shit-lib display that we about to see. Let's watch.
Matt handled himself so well, though.
Yeah, I didn't watch that much of it, but let's watch this part here.
Please do not interrupt me. Elon Musk spoon-fed you his cherry-picked information, which you must have suspected promotes a slanted viewpoint, or at the very least generates another right-wing conspiracy theory. You violated your own standard, and you appear to have benefited from it. Before the release of the emails in August of last year, you had 661,000 Twitter followers. After the Twitter files, your followers doubled, and now it's 3 times what it was.
Oh my God, you did good journalism.
And you got followers.
Was received well by other people. How dare you?
Right? You drop a story that tells people that the intelligence agency is intertwined with private companies to suppress social media, and that's not going to bring eyes to you. It's so absurd.
But you did good work and people appreciated it and then followed you so that they could. How dare you, sir? How dare you? I mean, what is she talking about?
I mean, don't you know you're supposed to lose ratings? Have you seen Morning Joe?
And let me just say,
everything
she is the wrong.
You're supposed to get in journalism and piss people off, sir. You're not supposed to do good shit. How dare you?
She's the wrong person to deliver this message.
Yes.
If they wanted it to land better, she is absolutely not the right person.
Yeah,
She shouldn't even be. How the fuck she is still in Congress is beyond my ability to comprehend. She rigged a fucking primary out loud in the open and got caught, and she still sits in Congress. Amazing.
Let's see how much this is literally ridiculous. And remember, guys, there's gonna be a wave of boutique left that are gonna see this and they're gonna be like, "Slay Queen."
Yeah.
Nick, I don't know if you. I know you don't do this. This is the part that I do. They've already made clips, and I don't think we're gonna have time to get to it. I'm talking about Feminist Report, Majority Report got a 30-minute clip on this shit. Man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Watch Debbie Wasserman Schultz take Matt Taibbi down. Watch
stuff like this. I'm like, oh
and
my
these people
God.
say that. These people say Jimmy Dore is right wing, but they propping up Debbie Wasserman Schultz. What the fuck? Let's continue this though, because we just getting started. This is unbelievably ridiculous. I'm gonna show you guys because I actually did see the Mike Figueredo one.
Okay. So you saw that one.
I didn't see the other one. So let's get through this real quick because for a sake of time.
In August of last year, you had 661,000 Twitter followers. After the Twitter files, your followers doubled, and now it's 3 times what it was last August. I imagine your Substack readership, which is a subscription, increased significantly because of the work that you did for Elon Musk.
What's your point? Oh my God, you're doing well, aren't you? You got a lot of Substack followers now, don't you? You think you're doing a little reporting? You see the disdain that these liberals have? Where is she killing it here? Let's continue.
Yeah, she's like, you're reporting the truth. You're just putting out the truth for people to have, huh? How dare you?
Yeah.
You're doing well, huh? You're respected by people in your community, huh? You got a good work-life balance, don't you? Huh? It's just so weird, like the fucking questions here. But I'm gonna show you the point because yes, she does. She rounds us around in a very shit liberty way. It's actually impressive. Like watching this, like Morning Joe level. Shit liberty. Let's watch this.
Significantly because of the work that you did for Elon Musk. Now, I'm not asking you to put a dollar figure on it, but it's quite obvious that you've profited from the Twitter files. You hit the jackpot on that Vegas slot machine to which you referred. That's true, isn't it?
I've also reinvested.
You've made some. No. Is it true that you have profited since you were the recipient of the Twitter files?
Do you guys know how unbelievable
you got paid for your work?
Ridiculous. I'm a Marxist. So do you guys know how unbelievably ridiculous it is for me to hear a capitalist complain that someone is making money? That's your criticism. That a guy is doing a profession, is good at it, and making a living. That's the argument that you make. And by the way, how much does Rachel Maddow make?
Oh.
How much do these people who are reputable journalists make? New York Times journalists make $200,000, $300,000 a year for doing jack shit?
Propaganda, for lying to people. For straight up lying to people.
Rachel Maddow don't make no 100,000. She makes millions.
She makes millions, like 30 million a year, I think.
She makes 30,000 a day, every episode.
Jesus.
And I'm talking like the New York Times. I may be undershooting it, but they make like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Like you look at like Barry Weiss. I can't even name a lot of these people, but a lot of these fucking New York Times journalists, they make a ton of money, and they literally get spoon-fed stories. They all work from home. They all got New York penthouses. But meanwhile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz want to guilt trip this person who exposed the establishment for benefiting from it.
And also frames it as he is working for Elon Musk, which is not the case. I don't think Matt Taibbi got paid by Elon Musk. Do I think that do I think his subscription levels rose? Do I think that his Twitter followers rose? Yes, because he did good work. And as I've said a million times, that doesn't make somebody a bad person. Like when people get on you guys because you make money off your Patreon or whatever, you're doing a job. You should be compensated for your work. Like there's a whole bunch of lefties who like throw a fit about that. So you think that people should do work and not get paid for it? Like that's not.
It's literally it's a reach of someone who's desperate. Like you guys are feeding yourself. How dare you?
It's called surviving. It's surviving pending revolution. I just did a stream on this. That's why I can think of even the specific phrase. It's called survival or surviving pending revolution. Like you think you're not gonna engage in capitalism even though you're a communist living in a capitalist society.
You don't have a choice.
Like, people are fucking morons.
So ridiculous.
These people don't read theory. They don't know anything about fucking Marxism. Marxism argues for paying our fair labor value.
Yeah.
Not taking none.
Yeah.
These dumbass people would be like, oh my God, you make money because you do work. We are advocating everyone get paid their fair labor value. Marxism is the ideology of prosperity. If you work hard, you prosper. So the idea that oh my God, you do something, you prosper. That's what we want.
Yes. Yes.
You stupid motherfuckers.
Well, we already blew this up last time I was on because they even call me a grifter. And I have a job, like I'm getting paid now from TNT Radio. But prior to that, everything I've ever done on YouTube, the like 4 or 5 years I've had shows on YouTube, I've never monetized anything. The only time I ever take money is when we're organizing an action in DC and I have to pay for shirts and buttons and all of that crap. That's the only time I have ever accepted money. 4 or 5 years of that shit. I've done it for fucking free. And they still call me a grifter. Still.
There are the liberals who hate us to this day. They will say, "Oh, you guys grifted off of Fred Hampton name. You mean that year we made no money?"
Yeah.
You guys grifted off of Fred Hampton name. That first year we made no money.
Nothing. Yeah.
It was worse than that. You mean we paid money?
Yes.
We paid money because we had to pay out money to exist. So we paid money out. It's ridiculous.
You guys have no idea the amount of money in the hole I am doing this stuff for free. Not that I'm complaining, because that was by choice. Like it was something I consciously decided to do. But Jesus, and then they still call me a grifter. Like, what the fuck, dude? Shut up. There's plenty of things to criticize me on. You don't gotta lie. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's ridiculous.
It'll be funny. It'll be funny if Matt was able to switch the table and say, "Hey, didn't you get somebody from the weapons manufacturers to come see you on January 8th, so and so date?"
Yep.
And didn't. So how did that affect your vote when you sent so and so
How much money do you
and
take
how much of that
private
money go to
prison
the weapons?
industry?
You get what I'm saying? Like that's
that's why I've been reclaiming it, CJ. You notice that I never call anyone grifters, but I started doing it because I was hijacking their word because they spend all their time calling activists grifters. No, I'm calling Marianne Wilson a grifter. I had that viral tweet where I called Bernie a grifter, and I used to miss it. I used to never use that term. I'm like, actually, no, I got a new strategy. I'm gonna use it against them now.
That's accurate. That's a fucking accurate use of the word.
Yeah.
Calling somebody a grifter means that they're saying things that they don't believe for personal benefit. That's not me. That's not Nick. That's not CJ. That's Debbie Wasserman Schultz. That's Bernie Sanders. That's AOC. They're lying to you for personal gain. That is a grifter. That is an accurate use of the term. Period.
I would even say, show me the most blatant example of a YouTube grifter. Even someone you will agree. Like, let's take Hassan. Someone you even agree is a grifter. The worst grifter on YouTube and on Twitch is not as bad as a politician.
No.
Right.
I don't like Hassan, but I would not say Hassan is as bad as a grifter as AOC and Bernie. And I don't even like the motherfucker. And I do think he's a grifter. So that's what I say.
Hassan's grift doesn't put anybody's life in jeopardy. It doesn't kill people. You know what I'm saying?
So my position is politicians and their apologists are the biggest grifters.
Mm-hmm.
If you think someone else is a grifter, okay. Not as big as a grifter as a politician.
No.
So that's what I've been weaponizing against them. You call us a grifter, I'm gonna call out Marianne Wilson as a grifter and Bernie as a grifter because they are. The definition of the grifter, as you said, is someone who's selling the idea that they don't believe is true in order to monetize it. Yeah. She went on Kyle and Crystal's show and told everyone a lie that no one believed that she believed. She said that she can beat that she can defeat Joe Biden.
She's lying.
Because she want you to donate for her to her. That is what a grifter is. And I'm gonna use it that way because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna redefine it. If I can't stop these motherfuckers from using the term grifter, I'm gonna redefine it and use it myself. That's the decision I personally made. But anyway, let's continue this. And I'm gonna write the same one pretty quickly because I think we said a lot. But what she said here is ridiculous. Let's watch this part, and I got a few more receipts on this.
You've made money. Yes or no?
I think it's probably a wash, honestly.
No, you have made money that you did not have before, correct?
But I've also spent money that I didn't have before. I just hired a whole group of people to
patently obvious answer, reclaiming.
And you know, outside the boutique left and the Democrats who were cheering for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, what everyone after seeing this was stating the obvious that she refused to allow Matt Taibbi to answer any question because she's insecure in her arguments. And if you watch the whole video, it's so desperate. She will ask him a question and soon starts, no. Because she knows that she would destroy her in an open format. So she weaponized her position in order to stop him from talking. She does it the entire time. I'm gonna play a little bit more and see if you guys can pick up on it. Because
this is also civility politics, but it's force, meaning you're in a setting where it's time and they can cut you off. So
Yep.
this is also part of civility politics. What she's doing here.
Yeah. So watch how desperate she is. I don't know how many clips we're gonna get to, but it's so obvious she's been doing this whole thing.
Where I just hired a whole group of people to
Patently
investigate.
obvious answer, reclaiming my time. Attention is a powerful drug. Eyeballs, money, prominence, attention, all of it points to problems with accuracy and credibility. And the larger point, which is social media companies are not biased against conservatives. And if anything, they ignored their own policies by allowing Trump and other MAGA extremists to post incessant lies, endangering public safety, and even our democracy. Hypocrisy is the hangover of an addiction to attention.
Oh, Jesus fuck. And in this thread, this guy Aaron Rupar, who's like the biggest shit lib you ever see on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's all these clips of Taibbi being grilled by these people. And this here, there's one I didn't have saved. I saw. Anyways, I'll go to Glenn Greenwald. Glenn's here. Here it is. And this is Tim Elliott. It said Debbie Wasserman Schultz gets annoyed at Taibbi after he refuses to say he's profiting off of Twitter files. How dare you say that? Anyway, this is Glenn. And while no it's common practice having a member of Congress abuse the few petty tyrant powers they have to berate witnesses and hurl accusations at them and their integrity, then refuse to let them respond is cowardly and pathetic, which is exactly what she did the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part where she quoted him on Rogan. I'm gonna see. Let's see if I have this here. She quoted him on Rogan, which is a blatant lie. Where she tried to use it as his quote, but he actually quoted Seymour Hersh on why the CIA gave him information. It was literally a blatant lie. But anyway, I'll get to this part. I want to speed this segment up. This is Emma Vigeland, the shittiest of all shit libs. So actually, yeah, this is the video I actually did want to play. So I'll play just a little bit more of this, and I'll show you guys the reaction that they generally have.
Ethics and information sources. The Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics asserts that journalists should avoid political activities that can compromise integrity or credibility. Being a Republican witness to
Accept Russiagate, accept the Iraq War, accept Venezuela, accept the DPRK, accept China, accept literally everything that mainstream liberal journalists that I'm sure she approve of does.
Yeah.
And this, I really want to show this part. I'm glad I found it. I actually lost it in my notes, but I'm glad I found this video because this is where the hypocrisy is really shown here. So let's continue here.
today certainly casts a cloud over your objectivity. But a deeper concern that I have relates to the ethics of how journalists receive and present certain information. Journalists should avoid accepting spoon-fed, cherry-picked information if it's likely to be slanted.
You mean like CNN, MSNBC does all the time for the CIA and FBI? The same way you guys do to Ukrainian government. The Ukrainian government will just tell our journalists something. They'll just run with it.
Yeah.
So it's the hypocrisy for me here. Let's continue.
Well, and she's also wrong too, because journalists should, if a journalist is handed information that they can verify as authentic and is within public interest, they should print it regardless. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter how it's slanted or who it helps or who it doesn't. If it is 100% verifiable, authentic information that is within the public interest, any journalist worth its salt should publish that shit.
Yo, that's a great point. Great point, Miss Dean. And she's gonna continue and pretend that liberal journalists who are not even journalists. I had the conversation with Glenn Greenwald before. Like, these people not even journalists. Only thing they do, they take news stories and they say, how can we spin it for Democrats? What makes them more journalists than anyone else? But somehow that is legit. But these people who never broke a story in their life think that they're somehow superior to Matt Taibbi.
Just go look at WikiLeaks. Go look at WikiLeaks, the DNC releases, the John Podesta releases. Look at how many journalists are exposed in those emails of running cover and working directly with the Hillary Clinton campaign, attending off-the-record dinners where they're schmoozing with the Hillary Clinton campaign. Glenn Thrush, who's a journalist, literally would send articles to her campaign to be approved first. Those are the kind. I mean, Rachel, like there's like a list of 60 journalists in the WikiLeaks releases that were exposed for being in complete collusion. Yes, I said the word collusion. In complete collusion with the Hillary Clinton campaign in the 2016 election. And she's fine with that. But Matt Taibbi's an asshole.
Yeah, let's continue this. And I got just a few more things to share. I know it's a little bit long, but I'm almost done here.
A foregone, easily disputed, or invalid conclusion, Would you agree with that?
I think it depends.
Really? You wouldn't agree that a journalist should avoid spoon-fed, cherry-picked information if it's likely to be slanted, incomplete?
And that's to your point. I'm glad you made that point because that just directly rebukes the nonsense that she's saying here. And my first reaction when I saw that was, your side does the same thing.
Yes.
Like, and that was my initial reaction. Your breakdown is great too. My initial reaction is, I can't believe that she's pretending that liberal journalism is different than what she's describing here.
They literally have CIA agents.
Yes.
Hired at major mainstream media networks. Like, they don't even hide it anymore. They just, like, former CIA agent, blah, 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 is like a paid correspondent on mainstream media networks. That is spoon-fed information from the deep state. And that's fine, but Matt Taibbi's an asshole. I mean,
what a journalist is supposed to do is take, and you see all the adjectives. This is a propaganda tactic. You see all the adjectives she gives. She takes the information that you call all of this slanted, one-sided, all of this, and then the journalist takes it and tries to fill in the holes. That's what journalism is. They don't go, I don't want this stuff, take it back unless you give me everything. What kind of journalist would do that? It's absurd. But when you don't, you notice that nobody on the boutique left, the pseudo left, arguing the points of what's in it. Everybody's pointing out Taibbi's right wing. What is okay? Now get to what's in the stuff. What's in
and
the
this is a very effective tactic. They do this with WikiLeaks. Oh, Julian Assange is gross. He smears poop on the walls. Nobody talks about what's in WikiLeaks. They don't talk about the war crimes. They talk about Julian Assange.
There was a segment I saw on the leftist mafia that I didn't feel it was worth doing a segment on here for. It was so cringe. The leftist mafia, with David Doe, Mike Figueredo, they have Olayemi held captive there.
Okay. I've never watched any of their stuff.
They did a segment I saw, and they was trying to explain why Matt Taibbi is right wing, and then they go and proceed to bring up nothing right wing.
Yeah,
it pretty much there's an example of why Matt Taibbi was right wing. Essentially, he went against Democrats. That's literally their definition. If you go against Democrats, you're right wing. If you for Democrats, or if you leave them alone, you're left wing.
I didn't know Matt Taibbi and Glenn Greenwald was such a lightning rod for the pseudo left. I didn't know that until recently.
Dude, it's so funny
because when this came out, they came out with videos like that. When AOC broke a strike, it's crickets. This thing happened literally not even a day goes by. They made content the same day on this so they can point out Matt Taibbi.
CJ, to that point, they criticize Matt Taibbi for curating their content. But they do the exact same thing. They won't cover the stories that we do that expose Bernie and AOC, but they cover nothing but the bad stuff. I mean, nothing but the good stuff. Meanwhile, they cover nothing but the bad stuff with Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, Matt Taibbi, and curate any good stuff. So what they're accusing Matt Taibbi of doing right now, they are guilty of all the time on their channel, which we call out. Right? Let's continue.
Or designed to reach a foregone, easily disputed or invalid conclusion?
Congresswoman, I've done probably a dozen stories involving whistleblowers. Every reported story that I've ever done across 3 decades involves sources who have motives. Every time you do a story,
thank you, Matt,
you're making a balancing test between the public
reclaiming
interest.
my time. Thank you very much.
See, now that point when she's like, damn, I get toasted here, so cut him off.
You make it sense.
Oh no, he's telling the truth. Man. Oh no, he's telling the truth. Shut him up. He's exactly right. Listen, whistleblowers always have an agenda. That's, I mean, the period. That's just the reality of the beast. Like that, whistleblowers always, they want to expose something. It doesn't matter what it is, but they always have an agenda.
Doesn't matter.
And no, it doesn't. Is it the truth? Is the information that is being given to you truthful? Is it accurate? Can you verify it? Is it in the public interest? Then you fucking publish that shit. Period.
Like when I watched the divorce court, this is a silly example. I watched the divorce court and they'd be like, she only bringing me to divorce because I cheated on her. What's the difference in the reason she's bringing you to divorce court?
Well, and she also says something about
make a difference.
She says something about incomplete information. I guarantee you there's never been a complete leak of information where you get every single piece of the story. It is never that way. Even with the Chelsea Manning releases, which was hundreds of thousands of pages of information, that's still an incomplete story on the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Does that mean that WikiLeaks shouldn't have published it because it's incomplete? That's fucking ridiculous. That's absurd. That's crazy.
We almost done with this part of the clip. I'm gonna show you guys some boutique left reaction. I'm gonna ask you guys this question. You guys see how they grilling Matt Taibbi, and this is large story. I know we're not covering all of it for the sake of time. All the liberals tweeting all these videos of Matt Taibbi being grilled for exposing the connection within the government and Twitter, right? Why is there not just grilling being done on the Biden administration for blowing up Nord Stream pipeline?
Right.
These people have more anger for Matt Taibbi and more curiosity to get the bottom of his right-wing grift, as they say. They have more will to do that than get to the bottom of the Nord Stream bombing. Do you guys see how deeply serious these people are and why I love calling them out? Let's continue this because we only got a few more receipts here.
Much. Okay. I ask you this because before you became Elon Musk's hand-picked journalist, and pardon the oxymoron, you stated this on Joe Rogan's podcast about being spoon-fed information, and I quote, "I think that's true of any kind of journalism," and you'll see it behind me here. "I think that's true of any kind of journalism. Once you start getting handed things, then you've lost. They have you at that point, and you got to get out of that habit. You just can't cross that."
Dude, this part right here is so dishonest.
Yeah.
And
I just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, so we on the same page. I'll let it finish and we share.
Line. Do you still believe what you told Mr. Rogan? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Now, you crossed that line with the Twitter files.
No.
Elon Musk, it's my time. Please do not interrupt me. Elon Musk spoon-fed you his cherry-picked information, which you must have suspected promotes a slanted viewpoint, or at the very least generates another right-wing conspiracy theory. You violated your own standard, and you appear to have benefited from it.
Like Rachel Maddow benefit from Russiagate, right? But we just explained why this horrible hearing is ridiculous. But this is coming from the boutique left. This is Emma Vigeland, the shittiest of all shit libs, the greatest shit lib that ever shit lived ever. This is the person that after it was revealed that Andrew Cuomo was killing elders in nursing homes. It was after that Emma Vigeland was like, you know what? I think Andrew Cuomo would be good for president. He should replace Joe Biden. And no, Emma, I will literally never let you forget that.
No.
And there was also the quote when she said, I think climate alone is why people should vote for Joe Biden.
How's that going for you?
How's that going for you?
How's that going for you?
Emma, and I know we roast a lot of these people, but out of all of them that I have been exposed to in my short time doing this, she's the dumbest. I don't know if there's any other contenders, but this is the dumbest political commentary that is out there by far on every issue. Every issue. And then she says, getting owned by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She watched the same thing that we just watched. This is the same clip that we just watched, and she thinks that's what's going on. Now, I'm wrapping this. This is my last part here.
I have a receipt for this.
Yeah, I'll pass the receipt after this part here. And I'm gonna show you guys this part because this is why she kept interrupting him. Like she literally lied about the quote. I'll play this part here.
Would you care to respond to the attack on your ethics? You weren't given really an opportunity to answer. And if you be brief, I've got a bunch of stuff I want to ask you as well.
Sure, just quickly, that moment on the Joe Rogan show, I was actually recounting a section from Seymour Hersh's book Reporter, where he described a scene where the CIA gave him the story, and he was very uncomfortable. He said that I, who had always gotten the secrets, was being handed the secrets.
So Matt Taibbi was quoting a book, and then Debbie Wasserman Schultz took that quote that came from a book and then applied it to him and used that to say, it's beyond dishonest.
He's quoting a book where Seymour Hersh is talking about the CIA spoon feeding him information rather than him getting it legitimately through a whistleblower. So it's dishonest on so many levels because yes, every journalist in the world should be very mindful. I wouldn't take information from the CIA either. They're a bunch of fucking liars. They're going to spoon feed you information so they can further their own agenda. So that that is, I've read that book. It's a phenomenal book. You should please read it. Seymour Hersh is an absolute legend in the world of journalism. I don't always agree with him, but he is an absolute legend. And to dismiss him as a blogger was really fucking funny to me. But yeah, that book he's talking about, it's not about getting information legitimately through a whistleblower. It's about being hand-fed information by the CIA. And so that's so unbelievably dishonest. It's disgusting what she just did. But kudos to that guy who just gave Matt the opportunity to defend himself on that. Rather, he said, I have my own questions, but would you like the opportunity to defend yourself? I think that was pretty cool of that dude to do that.
Yeah, and because it was obvious to everyone. There's a liberal bubble that's like, oh my God, she owned it. But everyone else was like, dude, she is so desperate to not let him answer. Yeah. That's obvious to everyone who don't have an agenda. Now, the last part I have, and I'll pass to you, CJ, is guess who else saw that lie, saw that desperate smear job, and thought that was a slave queen moment.
Let me say some guesses. So
Cenk Uygur.
So Cenk, Nina Turner, Jen Perlman.
I'm sure they got one coming.
Did Nina hype DWS? Please tell me that did not happen. Did Nina Turner legitimately hype DWS?
Sam Cedar, Marianne Williamson.
Jen Dicey, the girl that used to be on Status Coup. I saw her. I didn't say for a statement, but she was like, "Yeah, she owned them." All the liberals are coming out and hyping up the person who stole the election from Bernie Sanders. So this is look who it is.
I think that's true of any kind of journalism. Once you start getting handed things, then you've lost. They have you at that point, and you got to get out of that habit. You just can't cross that line. Do you still believe what you told Mr. Rogan? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good.
Heartbreaking. The worst person you know just made a great point. That exchange took place today during the House
absolute schmuck. You absolute schmuck.
Oh my God, these people are the dumbest.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to put this. Look, he couldn't wait to get some good news out. Look, and look, he put it out so quickly, didn't even get the full story.
Oh, that's embarrassing, Mikey. That's embarrassing.
So he posted misinformation on the channel.
Yeah.
Straight up posted misinformation. This dude's like
the hype Debbie Wasserman Schultz, by the way. He put up disinformation to hype. Oh.
Look, and then he repeats, look, he broke this, he made it easy for me because I don't have to watch it. Like he broke it up in segments. He's like, this is the part where Debbie Wasserman Schultz grills Matt Taibbi. According to Mike Figueredo, Matt Taibbi just got grilled. And then the next segment is Matt Taibbi profits from Twitter files.
Oh my God.
What?
He repeats the same bullshit liberal capitalist argument that this is back and he somehow made a profit from it. He thought that she made that point and he thought that she killed it. Let's see. I'm gonna see. I didn't see it. Once again, I didn't see it. I'm gonna unmute it. I want to see
the
what
hangover
reaction is.
of an addiction to attention.
That was just brutal. Matt Taibbi.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. That was
Taibbi violated his own principles by letting Elon Musk spoon feed him cherry-picked information all so he can further his own career. And he wouldn't even fess up to it. He pretended as if
you defend Bernie Sanders, progressives in the squad, to further your career.
Mm-hmm.
Your career was made on the Bernie movement. Yeah. That's why you refuse to criticize them. That's why you curate stories to avoid bad stuff that they do. And then you show all the bullshit, quote unquote, good stuff that they do because you got an agenda and a message that you're pushing, that you are profiting from. So the point is, the same thing that you criticizing Matt Taibbi for, you're guilty of.
Yep.
So I'll pass to you, CJ. I think I went way longer than I wanted to. But you guys see Mike Figueredo, Emma Vigeland lining up. You said David Doe. I didn't see that one. I think you said you got the more receipts, CJ. But
yeah, I'm gonna show you the Emma Vigeland one.
Yeah, and I'm sure the people who did not make a video yet is editing right now. So
I think Rational National Majority Report. I'm sure TYT. They always do Matt Taibbi though. They talk about Matt Taibbi all the time. Like they do it. But Majority Report by far, Matt Taibbi and Glenn Greenwald and somebody named Michael Prager. Is it Prager? Somebody Prager. They always putting shit out about that guy. But look, to your point, Nick, they actually give his full reason on why they they really are not following this.
Lack
of
journalistic.
journalistic
That's the title
wow.
itself is hilarious. Matt
Yes.
Taibbi's lack of journalistic integrity exposed during Twitter hearing. Surely you're not trying to curate the story to make an angle, right? Doing the same thing you're accusing Matt Taibbi of doing just now in your headline. All right, sorry, CJ, continue.
Yeah, no, It's like a 3-minute clip. Let's try to get through it. It's about a 3-minute clip. So let's listen.
Yeah, he didn't go. He mentioned in the first one, like, oh yeah, there's in the information I got, there's requests from both sides, Democrats and Republicans, and then he proceeds to, and in all the subsequent other Twitter files, whether it was Matt Taibbi's subsequent Twitter files or the other journalists that they've gotten to do this, they never ever go into what those Republican takedown requests are. And we should also put an asterisk on the whole entire thing, because the entirety of the Twitter files is basically requests, as in, hey, we came across this, we think, and this is for Democrats and Republicans, we think this goes against Twitter's policies, but you need to be the judge of that. We're just sending this over to you to to report it. And we want you to take a look at this. And so, yes, being that it's from Congress people, they would expedite the check of this material, and then they would decide whether it went against their policies or not. From what I've seen so far, the Twitter files has actually shown that the old Twitter regime, if you want to call it, was actually more competent than a lot of people thought in terms of how they really struggled over how to deal with some of these edge cases on their
censorship.
This is why the liberals and progressives find it they're gonna find it so hard to reach out in coalition with people who doesn't believe in with everything they do, because you can't trust what they do, because this is clearly a problem, the Twitter files, but you're bending over backwards with lies to try to pretend like this is not a big deal by simply, because what I'm getting for what he's saying here, and then I'm going to fast forward to another point where he really breaks it down. He's basically saying, you told us it's right wing and left wing, and all you're doing is coming out with all the shit they're doing from the left. So what's up? So they're mad that he doesn't have more information, I guess. But go ahead, Misty. Go ahead.
It's worse than that. The reason why he just said it, he's like, the people at Twitter, they got these requests from Congress people, and because it's Congress people, they expedited their request to censor people. And the reason why, if you listen to the way he said it, like the Twitter regime was competent because they handled censorship. The government should not be allowed to contact social media companies and get people censored. That's explicitly against the Constitution. Straight up, that is explicitly against the Constitution. But here's the thing: the reason why he's like, oh, they're competent, they're fine, because these progressive, these leftists, whatever the fuck you want to call them, the professional managerial class of douche canoes that these guys are, they support censorship. They all do. They all support censorship.
At the end of the day,
they're fine with it.
That's an important point, Misty, because at the end of the day, that's why all the boutique left hate Matt Taibbi. Not all bullshit. They working backward from the conclusion. They want you to think he's an unprincipled right-wing grifter because his Twitter file exposed something that they are for. They are for censorship because
right.
So they hold.
Did they hate him before this?
No,
did they hate him before this?
They will criticize him, but they will say stuff like, "Man, I used to respect Matt Taibbi." Then he went to right-wing.
They do the same thing with him that they do with Greenwald. Like Greenwald he has kept his. I mean, listen, he's not perfect, but as far as I can see, Greenwald has been pretty consistent in his principles, period, as far as censorship, the First Amendment, all of that stuff. But because progressives are not consistent and they are fine with censorship, they do the same thing with Taibbi as they do with Greenwald. And because he has remained principled and they have shifted to the right, they call him a right-wing grifter. And they do the projection thing, which, they do the same thing to Jimmy Dore. It's,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so listen to this. I fast forwarded to the second part because he's going to really say, okay, this is what I really think about it, and he'll break it down.
Story, right? You take the time to investigate this stuff and you open up with the big story. I mean, this is my honest take of this. Matt Taibbi is dying for his Edward Snowden like Glenn Greenwald has.
Oh, the person talking about principle, like, this is my honest take. So you were being dishonest. Well, why you gotta say that? Let's continue. I'm being honest with you.
And you open up with the big story. I mean, this is my honest take of this. Matt Taibbi is dying for his Edward Snowden like Glenn Greenwald has. And no matter what Glenn Greenwald has become and no matter what he does, he'll always have the Ed Snowden story, the NSA story. You can't take that away from him. No matter.
They paint his narrative as if he changed what Glenn Greenwald has become. He's always
been Glenn Greenwald. I mean,
he's always been a civil libertarian. What are you talking about? You guys changed.
Yeah.
If you did, I know people like Missy would say you guys always been shit. I agree with that, but you guys see what I'm saying. Let's continue.
Whether you like him or not, this is just the facts. Taibbi never got that type of story. Like Matt just mentioned. You know, he did great work. He got awards, but.
And there's another tweet. I might pull it up later. I just found it while I was doing more fact finding, where Emmett Vingland once again put journalists in quotes in regarding Matt Taibbi. Yeah. So Emma, you don't consider Matt Taibbi a journalist compared to you? What have you ever broken? What have you ever broken? No, I'm not saying I'm an esteemed journalist. I break labor actions. That's why I cover labor action, mutual aid.
I'm not a journalist at all.
I broke the KC-10's rally. I was the only person tweeting about that. So I'm not saying I'm significant at all. But I'm not the person over here sitting saying that Matt Taibbi is not a journalist. I'm not the one who pretending that I somehow do more pure work than fucking Matt Taibbi. I'm very clear what I do. I'm a citizen journalist that cover mutual aid events. You guys are sitting here pretending that you have work that's more valuable than Matt Taibbi. All you guys do is gossip about electoral politics
and questioning his journalistic integrity. They don't even know what that is. What journalism have you done to know what journalistic integrity is? Zero. None. And in fact, you trash people who do actual journalistic work and smear them. And this is wow.
They talk about journalistic integrity, then they bring on Ryan Grimm. Please. Excuse me.
But there's no defining story of Matt Taibbi's career. Right. And he is begging. He's trying to make this it because he sees the opportunity there. And there certainly is a financial opportunity there. He's got the Musk sycophants and the right wingers eating up this shit and certainly growing his Substack and his Twitter following. The guy's probably raking in the cash now.
Oh my God.
So it is bad. So if I take his argument at face value, he says it's bad to cultivate an audience of one political leaning. That is his argument. His argument against Matt Taibbi is, he's a giant journalist who got all these Substack subscribers. Yeah, he got a story that's way bigger than ours, but it's just right winger, so it doesn't count. So let's take that to you. What is your audience made up of? Your audience is nothing but Democrat voting liberals. So let's use that same argument for you. You're just some journalist who just curates information so you can grow a liberal audience and tell them what they believe.
Exactly.
Is that criticism?
That's what everybody. That is what everybody in this space does. Everybody in this space is attempting to grow their viewership. Every single person who makes YouTube videos and why would you do it otherwise? Like, I mean, even myself, I'm not really in it for anything other than only reason I got into it was to get out information on Assange. But because I'm trying to get out information on Assange, I want people to fucking watch it. I want to grow the viewership. Mm-hmm. But this is what you just made. The point you just made, Nick, is so important because they genuinely see the idea that right wingers would be interested in the stuff that you're putting out. That's a bad thing to them. And that is so backwards. I can't even begin to.
They love the tribalism. That's because they're addicted to tribalism.
Yes.
I'll let you continue, but they're addicted to the red-blue game, tribalism. And anyone who try to break that game they're addicted to, they lash out against. But go ahead, finish your thought. That's a good point.
No, but frankly, I want people watching Jimmy Dore, and I want people listening to Glenn Greenwald and Matt Taibbi.
Right wingers follow me.
Yes, I love it. I have a ton of right wingers that follow me. I have a ton of right wingers. Welcome aboard. Hey, we're going to disagree on some stuff, but hey, it's good to have you here.
There's this black conservative guy. I'm not going to shout him out, but there's this black conservative guy. Like, man, I hate fucking liberals, but I like the fact that it seems like you at least care about community. We probably disagree with a lot of stuff, but at least it's like I take pride in that. Like that guy probably believe in stupid ass shit, but I got into this shit to be influential. I want to pull people to my side. I'm not here to create a camp. There's a lot of people that want to create a camp and they want to grow. I want to influence as many people to join my side as possible. That's why I'm in here. That's the point of the game. But CJ, go ahead. You can continue it.
It's about another 20 seconds here.
but it's still not that defining. No matter how hard he tries, it will not be that defining Ed Snowden story that is to what Glenn Greenwald is. But Taibbi does not have it.
And he would, but he has to act like this is it, and not only because of like his own desire, but also
that black guy on the left is just, his eyes is going everywhere. It's almost like he doesn't believe nothing that's being discussed.
I don't
right
watch
there.
them, so I don't know what that is.
So that's funny. That's
Missy,
funny, but it's.
Sorry, go ahead. I was about to say, Missy, you was there when I did my segment with Nina Turner. And remember when Nina Turner had her sidekick there, that black woman, and you know that Nina Turner and their executives had her under like a barrel of a gun, like, yo, you are the black woman who's on the show with Nina Turner. You better not fuck this up. You better say you support Ukraine war funding. So that's that black dude. I see that black dude. That motherfucker had a barrel of a gun. He's like, you better not say some shit that's gonna radicalize our audience. And you know, I don't know anything about the guy, but you know that brother's sitting there like, fuck, I can't say this, I can't say this, I can't say this. Anyway, Cedar, sorry, go ahead. I'll pass to you.
No, I mean that was the I think we can end it there. You can go and watch the entire video. Like it's believe it or not, like you think, oh, that's a 30-minute video of that's what they're doing.
And there's gonna be a lot
where
more
it's
too.
literally just mumbo jumbo about him. None of the substance that nobody's talking about what they found, Adams, none of that stuff, because they have to team up with those people that's making the requests. The AOC and the squad have said they're going to team up with these people, the Hakeem Jeffries. I mean, if they can team up with Hakeem Jeffries, to me, that should have been a breaking point for a lot of people. Wait a minute, you told me for several months or a year that Hakeem Jeffries was absolutely terrible.
There's so many,
and he was coming after us, and now y'all voting for him? How that didn't break away?
They voted for Nancy Pelosi. They voted for twice. Ridiculous. They voted for. I don't know how progressives weren't like, okay, done with you. Like you, really?
There's so many examples. I can't even pin there's so many examples. Like, damn, you guys still like them? Whenever I see people still retweeting Bernie and AOC and them, I'm like, still. I can point any individual thing like Ukraine funding, voting for Nancy Pelosi, voting for Hakeem Jeffries, voting to break a strike. Those 4 things individually would be enough for me to cancel you.
Yes.
Let alone all 4. The people who still like Bernie, AOC, saw all 4 of those things. They still like, we good with them.
One of AOC's very first votes was to expand NATO. You weren't done then? Really? Because I was done then. I don't know.
Missy, I appreciate you, as always, hanging in there with us.
I'm sorry I'm always so distracting and ranty, and we never get anything accomplished because we just...
That's why I don't feel bad at the end, Dave, for keeping you long, because I'm like, hey, Misty, hey, I'll let you rant, but it may take us longer to do segments, but that's how we like to do it. It's always
Nick always says, you want to come on for like an hour? And I'm like, you mean 2.
I don't even, I didn't even say it this time. I was like, all right, no, it's not right. So, and I'm going to do your show. I apologize, I missed the last one, but I'm going to be on your Misty's radio.
No, we'll get it set up. It's fine.
Start that out too. Where can they find you, Misty?
So I'm on TNT Radio. There may be a time slot change. I'll say tonight I'm on at 10 p.m. Eastern. I have the Bank Sisters coming on, Courtney and Keisha. Nice. But you can catch all of the previous episodes that I've done. I just had a guy from Railroad Workers United on to talk about East Palestine. I've had a bunch of libertarians on. Clutch your pearls. I've had David Estamato on, a whole bunch of people. So you can find those all at tntradio.live. And again, I'll be on 10 p.m. tonight with the Bank Sisters. I'm really excited about that. I love ranting with them too. They're good rant partners as well. So yeah, and I want to get both of you guys on. It's just trying to nail down scheduling and stuff. And I may have a time shift or a time slot change. So I got to get that worked out, and then we'll figure it all out. Yeah. But yeah, TNT is cool. There's no censorship. And honestly, I am probably the most left-wing person on the network. But the idea that there is a lefty on talk radio is a win. That's a win. And so
it's always really fun. It's like it's me and Misty ranting for every time. It's just us ranting for an hour.
It is good. And there's no censorship. Fun. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good
Make
time.
sure you guys check out Comrade Misty.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys.
And tomorrow, Jimmy Dore will be joining us same time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So a lot to discuss tomorrow. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and all that stuff. So Misty, I'll pop you out, and CJ, I'll pass you for announcement. That's my last announcement. I got more guests I'm gonna work on for next week. So Jimmy tomorrow. That should be a good one. See you guys.
Yeah, so just announcement, and we're gonna close out. No closeout video today. Make sure you join our Substack if you want get notifications when we go live, like the one we're gonna be doing with Jimmy. Make sure you join the Substack. Like the video, that's Sabby in the back, one of our summits. If you're watching that, and we have memberships. Thank you for those that joined. Join us tomorrow. It's a big one. Let me show you the graphic. Actually, I'll show you what the graphic looks like. Do I have the Jimmy graphic already? Hang on a second. Yeah. Well, no, I don't. All right. So I don't have it. I thought I had the Jimmy graphic. I don't have it. So yeah, that's today's graphic. So we're going to end it there. Like I said, there's no outro video. Thank you for joining. And thank you for joining today. And we are out.